stories making news.
I'm Sean Malone. Data centers in St. Louis City could soon be facing new regulations. I've got that story coming up.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. In St. Louis County, the health department is asking for supplemental funding, but is the health director cooperating? More after the top of the hour news.
An average of 30 million people watched Fox Monday night. We'll tell you more about the most watched soccer broadcast in American history next hour.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine mixing with clouds, very warm but humid with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. Today's high 89.
Let's keep those thunderstorms away from Busch Stadium. We have a game tonight, 6:45 start against the Brewers. Cardinals really struggling here out of the gate against the division leaders.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. After the latest Iranian attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz and the American retaliation, President Trump speaking at the NATO summit this morning, attacking Iran's leaders.
They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
And declaring he believes the ceasefire is over. He says he'll let his negotiating team keep trying to talk. However,
as far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them.
Oil prices surging this morning after the president said that. Brent crude jumping over 6%, trading now at nearly $79 a barrel. Amid more allegations of sexual assault against Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner, there are more calls for him to leave the race. He's going to drop out, and if he is, he needs to do so by Monday to allow state Democrats to pick a replacement on the ballot, if he does. Officials in New York say that building that started wavering yesterday, raising fears about a possible collapse, has been stabilized. This is ABC News. Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell hospitalized 3 weeks ago, and the internet wants to know why. Experts say in the absence of a lot of clear information from McConnell's team about what's going on with the senator and what precisely his diagnosis or his prognosis is, the internet has taken it upon himself to speculate about what might be going on with Senator McConnell. So the fact that conversations are happening is fairly noteworthy, the experts say, but the question now is it enough to quell any of those concerns? A New Jersey fire chief is thanking those who saved him and his crew when a surfacing humpback whale capsized their boat. Cody Brinkley was one of those who quickly showed up. He and his crew were watching the whale's pod as it happened. He says by the time they heard the call for help and got to them, the boat went from being on deck and leaning towards the rear to the men on board all having to bail out and jump in. All humans and whales made it through unharmed. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 6:02, and we do have a few clouds in downtown St. Louis, but mostly sunny and 72 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Regulations to data centers in St. Louis City are one step closer to reality.
After weeks of public input, debate, and over a dozen amendments, the Automatic Zoning Committee approved the regulations, sending them to the full board. Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer says her bill requires data centers to meet certain clean energy milestones and bans them from being built too close to schools, parks, and residential areas. Facing some criticism from the public who say the regulations don't go far enough, Schweitzer agrees.
Really trying to find that pathway that is as strong as I can possibly make it, while still getting 7 more votes in the Board of Aldermen and a signature by the mayor.
The Aldermen go on their summer recess Friday. However, President Megan Green has announced she will call 2 special meetings to allow the regulations to receive a final vote. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Police are looking for 3 suspects from yesterday's armed robbery at the Dollar General in the 4000 block of North Grand. This happened about 11:15 in the morning. 2 women loaded a large plastic container with stolen goods before a man pulled out a knife and threatened an employee. The 3 suspects then entered a red vehicle and fled the scene.
In July, after a dangerously hot week, comes word of the first heat-related death.
A man in his 80s from West St. Louis County is the first heat-related death of the summer season in the county. The medical examiner confirmed the death, which happened July 3rd. The county health department warns extreme heat will return at times throughout the summer and is asking residents to know the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. If someone becomes dizzy, nauseous, or stops sweating in the heat, get them someplace cool immediately and call 911. Check on neighbors and family members who may be vulnerable or lack air conditioning. The high temperature in St. Louis on July 3rd was 93 degrees, but the heat indices were in the triple digits.
That's KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
In St. Louis County, the health department is asking for supplemental funding But the county council budget chair, Shalonda Webb, says the health director declined to take part in a scheduled meeting yesterday to explain that request.
I bring this forth because there have been talks of important legislation needing to move forward for the Department of Public Health, whether that be for additional employees or other needed items. I am asking that the Department of Public Health Director, Dr. Cunningham, please send forth alternative dates for her next CDL meeting.
County Executive Page last week publicly announced that no department heads would meet with council members after he alleged Webb, under her breath, threatened health director Dr. Cunningham. But Webb and Rita Day's report meeting since then with the Departments of Public Safety and Elections, respectively.
The county executive is not in attendance this afternoon, so we will move to public forum.
No response at the meeting from Page or Cunningham.
Bill number 113, introduced by Councilmember Webb.
I move to hold Bill number 113.
Bill number 113 is held.
No vote on Metro Transit funding at the county council meeting. The move came after a hearing from blind transit advocate Nicole Fitcham-Sheehan, who told council members she supports the funding, but also wants stronger oversight of Bi-State Development, the agency that runs Metro. She particularly pointed out the call-a-ride service.
The current vehicles are not exactly safe. As I said, I've been in this industry for 27 years, and the call-a-ride vehicles that are used currently, this is the first city that I have lived in or traveled that use these type of vehicles. And I pray to God that I am not in a mobility device, because I would be terrified.
She also says fixed route buses are being pulled from service due to driver shortages, leaving some disabled riders waiting up to 90 minutes for the next bus.
St. Louis City's new 5-point strategic plan puts neighborhood recovery front and center with a heavy focus on the tornado zone and the north side. Mayor Kara Spencer says in a promotional video that means moving faster on repairs and rebuilding.
We're recovering and revitalizing neighborhoods by accelerating tornado recovery, implementing North City neighborhood plans, improving public health and housing availability, empowering the neighborhood stabilization division to better serve residents, and identifying ways to better meet the needs of the unhoused.
As part of that push, the city is folding its neighborhood stabilization division directly into the mayor's cabinet, giving it a bigger role in deciding how vacant and blighted properties get handled moving forward.
A nightclub in downtown St. Louis has lost its 3 a.m. liquor license. Europe nightclub, located at 710 North 15th Street, lost its license after downtown residents testified in April, saying the club is a hotspot for criminal activity. According to the Business Journal, the club has until July 25th to appeal the decision.
Well, speaking of parties and hot spots, it's never too early to start planning for Mardi Gras, at least not in Soulard. The neighborhood's Mardi Gras Foundation just announced next year's theme will be Mardi Gras around the world, drawing on the rich diversity of carnival traditions across the globe, including Venetian masquerades and Rio de Janeiro's sambas. The grand parade has already been set for Saturday, February 6th.
It's 6:07, traffic and weather next.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform developed by AmericanEagle.com has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is going on 6:10. It looks like a nice morning out there right now. It's a little on the sticky side, but it's still only 72 degrees. So take advantage of that while you can. We'll take a closer look at the forecast in just a minute, but let's check in with Roger Brand. He joins us from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we've got a little trouble on northbound 270 right now. We have a crash, I think it is what it is, on North 270. It looked like it was in a traffic lane a moment ago. They may have moved it to the shoulder. North 270 just south of Olive, by the way. So traffic a minute ago was looking a little more jammed. Now it's slow, but from Ladue midway up to Olive, it is heavy on northbound 270. The good news is South 270 drivers are not slowing for a look. Start to see a little bit of a slowdown a little further to the west on eastbound 70, right around the Wright City Rest area. Of course, that whole stretch is a rash of construction zones, so that's no surprise. The rest of these interstates, though, are looking great for you in the work zones and otherwise. No delays on the Illinois side. We got a lot of construction going on over there on 64 and 5570, but so far so good for you on your drive, although this is the hour they're scheduled to start on eastbound 5570 between 64 and Exchange and have it down to one lane there through the 2 p.m. hour today. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Seeing more bees, wasps, or hornets around your home? Carpenter bees can damage wood structures, and wasps and hornets often hide nests inside walls. Don't risk getting stung. Let Rottler Pest Solutions protect your home and family. Call Rottler today or visit Rottler.com.
Sunshine and some clouds today, very warm but humid with a stray afternoon thunderstorm, high 89. It'll turn out mainly clear, warm and humid tonight, though 74. For tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds, quite warm and humid, the high 91. There'll be a couple of thunderstorms in the area late tomorrow and tomorrow night that could produce downpours, gusty winds, and hail. For Friday, clouds, some sun, and very humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have a humid morning for you. It's 72 degrees with a clear sky, humidity 94% downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:12, and with construction resuming along Missouri's Improve I-70 corridor after the holiday weekend, drivers can expect to see crews back at work in several locations across the state. Project Director Eric Kopinski tells MissouriNet one of the latest changes is the new interchange and roundabout in Kingdom City.
It's going to take a time or two to go through there before drivers can feel more comfortable. But we've done our homework. It's a very innovative interchange. When we remove the old bridges that are there later this winter and lake season's done, that's all going to make that interchange flow even better.
Kopinski says crews are completing about $2 million in work each day across the Improve I-70 corridor with roughly 600 workers involved statewide. He says the goal is to finish the project by 2030.
Illinois resident Lisa Ash got nowhere with the Social Security Administration on her own, so she turned to her congresswoman's office for help, freeing up more than $100,000 owed to her disabled nephew.
There was a website for Representative Budzinski's office, and there was a drop down for Social Security issues. I chose it. I filled out the form. I hit submit. You know, I was very discouraged in every area I was dealing with at that time. So I got an email from Blake at that office saying that you had gotten my request, and I mean, nothing was immediate. But things Social Security started to be more responsive and more helpful.
Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski's office says its constituent services team worked directly with the Social Security Administration on Ash's behalf. Her office says it regularly helps Illinois' 13th District residents navigate federal agencies, including Social Security, Medicare, and Veteran Services.
St. Louis City SC launching its first Special Olympics team. City Unified has 17 players In partnership with Special Olympics Missouri, City Unified will host its first match against Sporting Kansas City's Unified team next Thursday at Washington University Orthopedics High Performance Center that's located near Energizer Park. Two of the athletes will also be competing at the 2026 Special Olympics Unified Sports MLS All-Star Game during MLS All-Star Week. That is late July in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The U.S. was bounced out of the World Cup by Belgium Monday night in a 4-1 loss. Total Information AM asked a local soccer analyst what the U.S. men's soccer program needs to work on for the future.
Jen Cease, St. Louis City SC broadcaster on Y98 and host of the KMOX Sports Soccer Report, says the American squad needs to work on resilience.
One of the things that the USA did so well, actually, I think bit them a little bit. We have led throughout the entire tournament. We did not have to dig out of a deficit.
Cease says Belgium, on the other hand, did have to do that in this year's World Cup.
When it comes to talented tactical players, talented technical players, we produce those in the United States, but can we produce players also that know how to dig out of a deficit and how to keep battling?
She says there's no doubt the red card reversal by FIFA at President Trump's request was likely a distraction for the U.S. team. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Well, Argentina had no such issues against Egypt yesterday. What an unbelievable soccer match that was between Egypt and Argentina. Let's get the very latest from Ed Donahue.
It was an epic finish at the World Cup in Atlanta as Argentina beat Egypt 3-2. Egypt was leading 2-0 with 11 minutes of regulation time to go. Argentina roared back with 3 goals. Enzo Fernandez scored the winning goal in stoppage time. Fan Sudi Morales was riding that roller coaster.
I was crying since the beginning. I was praying. I have a rosary here. I was very nervous, but I knew that we got this.
The second goal was scored by Lionel Messi, his 8th goal of this World Cup.
Bueno, la verdad que felicidad por...
Messi says, honestly, I'm just so happy we made it through and about the way we did it. Things got tough at 2-0, so it was incredibly exciting to turn it around once again. We suffered a lot, but that's the World Cup for you. Messi was in tears after the final whistle. I'm Ed Donahue.
Argentina will next play Switzerland. In fact, the quarterfinals are set for the World Cup. It's going to be France and Morocco in one of them, Spain against Belgium in the other. On the other side of the bracket, it's Norway and England, and then Argentina and Switzerland. While Argentina was coming back and beating Egypt, the Cardinals were just getting started on a long day of baseball. A doubleheader, Matt Pauley.
The Cardinals continue to struggle against the first-place Brewers. They're now 1-7 against Milwaukee this year, and they've lost the first 3 games of the current 5-game series. They're swept in a doubleheader yesterday, losing 4-3 and then 10-2. That follows a 4-3 loss on Monday. Manager Oliver Marmol acknowledges his team was possibly a hit away from winning either of the first 2 games of the series before things went sideways in yesterday's nightcap.
It's a good team. And they have a large run differential for a reason. They score a lot of runs. They don't give up a whole lot. Their pitching staff has a ton of punch. And the first 2 games, I felt like we competed well. We were a hit away and couldn't come up with it. But I felt like our overall approach and how we competed, I'm okay with it. This last one, that just wasn't ideal.
The Brewers sweep the Cardinals in a doubleheader for the first time ever. And during their current 7-game winning streak against St. Louis, the Cardinals have scored 3 runs or less in every game. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
You can expect more roster moves today as the Cardinals try to navigate their pitching through the rest of this portion of the season before the All-Star break comes next week. The Cardinals are only a game in front of the Pirates at this point in the National League Central. Pittsburgh's coming on strong here. Their first baseman, Ryan O'Hearn, set a franchise record, drove in 10 runs, hit 3 home runs, a grand slam, and 2 3-run shots as the Pirates battled the Braves yesterday and came out victorious. And this Pirates team is not bad. They got some bangers in that lineup. 12-4, they win that game over Atlanta. Atlanta's slipping here. They only have a 2-game lead over the Phillies in the National League East. Phillies right now are in the second wild card team in the National League. It goes Cubs, Phillies, Marlins, with the Cardinals 2 out. We'll check Wimbledon. Novak Djokovic picked up a win yesterday and needed 5 sets to do it, beating Felix Auger-Aliassime in 5 sets, took more than 5 hours to do it, setting up a semifinal against defending champion Yannick Sinner. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, nope, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
You know, we love our animals in this town. I think there's one that will stop you in your tracks no matter where you are. And really, this is the case for people around the world. It doesn't get any more iconic than the world famous Budweiser Clydesdales. You've seen them in commercials. Of course, they're part of opening day in St. Louis. How special is it that you can see these gentle giants up close and in person at their home in Soulard? Of course, I'm talking about the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. It's the home of Budweiser, and it's the home of our favorite horses, the Clydesdales. Check out the Clydesdale VIP experience. There is nothing quite like it, and there's nothing better than wrapping up your tour with an ice-cold Budweiser in the beer garden at Anheuser-Busch. All you have to do to book your tickets today is go to BudweiserTours.com. You want to talk about a great summer activity. Take your family and friends who come into town on a Clydesdale VIP experience. Just go to BudweiserTours.com. It's also nice to cool off with that ice-cold Budweiser at the end. BudweiserTours.com.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
6:21, time to check in with Roger Brand, who is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got our trouble on North 270 right now, Debbie. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. At least it's North 270, but North 270, midway between Ladue and Olive, we got a crash blocking the right lanes. I think it's 3 right lanes. There's a solid jam at Ladue on North 270 right now. One of the folks was trapped in the vehicle. They're working to get him out right now. The good news is that nobody South 270 is slowing for a look. South 270 looks great through the area right now currently. Out west, southbound 61, eastbound 70, eastbound 64. Everything's on the go for you so far there. And coming up from the south side, North 270 is fine from 55 all the way up through 64, like I said, until you get up there at Ladue. And on the Illinois side, starting to see a little bit of a slowdown westbound 64 west of 159. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
It's going to be hot and humid today with a chance of a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. A high of 89. Tonight, clear, humid, low 74. Tomorrow, the same, just a little warmer and a heavier thunderstorm in play. High of 91 for Thursday and a couple of thunderstorms around late tomorrow into tomorrow night. Currently, it's clear and 73 downtown.
The news continues at 6:23. A little later this morning, AARP, Metro Transit, UMSL, and Citizens for Modern Transit are holding a ribbon cutting. As Kim Sella of Modern Transit tells us, it's for the unveiling of a new bus bench at Natural Bridge entrance to UMSL.
And this may not sound like a big deal, Debbie, but this is a really big deal. So this program is really aiming to gather and share narratives on the impacts of a bus bench at a bus stop. And what we hear from our members and riders all the time is that there are a lot of forgotten bus stops in St. Louis. So the goal of this program is to help build amenities for public transit riders and the surrounding communities by partnering with local organizations to install these Enjoy the Ride bus benches.
As you mentioned, it may not seem like a big deal until you've had a really long day and you've walked to your bus stop and you're waiting for your bus and you're tired and you'd rather not sit on the ground.
That's exactly right. And what's really unique about this bus bench placemaking program that CMT and AARP have initiated is the fact that each bench is tagged with our website and a QR code so that we can gather and share the narratives on how this bench is positively influencing not only riders, but the local communities around the benches. The other thing that we're seeing is the investment in these small-scale infrastructure is sparking further investment in transit across the region. For example, we unveiled 2 of these benches last April in Swansea, and the Village of Swansea, in partnership with the St. Clair County Transit District, have now invested in shelters for those bus stops. And so we're continuing to see further investment around our small bench investment.
So this will be the 12th bench installed. Do you have a number for how many you would like to install, and how do you pick those sites?
We're actually overwhelmed by the number of municipalities, organizations that are interested in a bench for their stops. Our goal was 5 in the first year, like I said, and now by the end of this month, we'll be on bench 13 installed. And so our goal is to install probably an additional 20 benches by September of 2027 and see where we can go from there. And part of the critical component of this program is that we need on-the-ground partners. So we need partners who are willing to help us with the installation and then the maintenance of the bench going forward. And what we're seeing is communities see the impact of these benches in other areas, and they're saying, hey, I want one of those benches in my area. So we are looking at other communities are saying, I don't want one bench, Kim. We want 5 benches. We actually had one community who wanted 19 benches. So we had to scale them back just a little bit, Debbie, to make sure that we could share the wealth around the region. But there is definite interest for benches and the impacts that they're having on both riders and the communities. This program really underscores how this small, thoughtful piece of infrastructure can really yield profound impact, making the transit stop someplace that people are stopping, whether they're using transit or not, as a place of rest, connection, and community. And the stories that we're hearing are from all walks of life. You know, I stopped at this bench on my way home from the grocery store and it was great. Or this is a great location to have a bench as I wait for the bus after a long day of work. And so we're hearing the stories of the impacts as well. And that makes these really meaningful to the communities in which they sit.
That is Kim Sella of Citizens for Modern Transit.
It's 6:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Andy Ortiz, when I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Chris Ranchi and Amy Markscores connect you with the people, places, and conversations that bring our community together.
And now you get to hear about poo-poo in a box from a firefighter.
No, come on.
The hammerhead worm. And you get to hear about car fires.
And sinkholes.
And sinkholes. I love our newsroom. I think they're doing a great job.
From neighborhood happenings to local heroes, from everyday challenges to unforgettable stories. Chris and Amy, weekdays from 9 to noon on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:30, and we have mostly sunny skies, 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We have problems on 270. Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, they're still working with this crash. It was a rescue crash, Tom. Northbound 270, midway between Ladue and Olive. 3 right lanes blocked. Traffic on North 270, a solid jam back, pretty close to 64 now. Other than that, there are no delays on North 270 as you make your way up from 55 until you get to that point at 64. And the good news is, again, a lot of folks come south on 270 that time of day or this time of day through that area. And I'm not seeing any southbound delays coming down past Olive right now, so that's great to see. A little volume now, southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64, westbound 70. Passing Wentzville Parkway, there's a little bit of a slowdown there. It looked good on 55, just a little busy, approaching 141 to the Merrimack, so it's a slowdown there. And on the Illinois side, just a little heavy traffic starting to build in there. A couple of slow spots, southbound 255 coming out of Godfrey, headed down towards Seminary Road, but the rest of the Illinois work zones are looking good right now. Next update at 6:40 for the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it's going to just be, well, it's July in St. Louis, so sun and clouds, humid, 89 degrees will be our high today. We could see a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. Tomorrow, much the same with a high of 91, sun and clouds, and a couple of thunderstorms tomorrow, late tomorrow into tomorrow night. Those could be some pretty strong ones. Right now, sunshine and 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
It's 6:32. St. Louis Public Schools weighing options that would shrink the number of schools from 62 down to somewhere between 40 and 47. That could mean new buildings, new bus routes, or different grade groupings for some kids. SLPS is holding the first of 3 community meetings tonight from 5 to 7 at Vashon. No decisions will be made at the meetings, but the district says they're an opportunity for community members to learn more about the plan and provide feedback.
A man who lost his son to violence in St. Louis County a decade ago is asking county council members to fund prevention work before more families go through that same loss. Bill 86, which the council continues to hold on, would direct $1.75 million from the county executive's office toward violence reduction programs.
My son was murdered in St. Louis County in 2015. 2 years later, the young man that murdered him was murdered.
Monterrey Streeter L has worked in violence intervention and social services for nearly 20 years, including as site supervisor with the city's Show Me Peace program. He now runs Living with Purpose STL, a North County nonprofit offering housing, parenting programs, and job training. Streeter L says he plans to submit a formal proposal for his organization to take part in the county's program if the council approves the funding.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
6:34, and in about 6 minutes, we'll get you updated on the roadways and the weather. But let's get you your money report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The U.S. Treasury Department has revoked a waiver that allowed the sale of Iranian oil in response to attacks on tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. That caused oil prices to jump Tuesday to more than $70 a barrel. U.S. forces have since started carrying out new strikes, which could disrupt energy supplies even further. Meta rolled out a new image generation AI model called Muse Image inside its chatbot and social apps, including Instagram and WhatsApp. People can use it to generate images based on text prompts or by asking it to alter existing pictures. Shares of EV maker Rivian plunged 18%, the most in more than 2 years Tuesday, as it looks to sell 75 million more shares in the company to help pay back a $4.5 billion energy department loan. And later today, we'll get minutes from the Fed's latest meeting, the first under new chair Kevin Warsh. That's expected to emphasize concerns about inflation, though the Fed's largely expected to keep interest rates steady for a while. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering for Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Brewers.
Ackerman Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have sports coming up in 6 minutes to talk more about the Cardinals and what they were not able to accomplish yesterday, although the hidden pitching navigation that they tried to accomplish, that is on the way at 6:45. At 6:39, speaking this morning at the NATO summit in Turkey, President Trump was asked about the state of the memorandum of understanding with Iran and the ceasefire in the wake of the recent attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz and the American retaliation. President Trump said he thinks the MOU is over, though he would allow American negotiators to try and continue. He said he thinks that would be a waste of time.
Immigrant rights groups demanding a third-party investigation into Tuesday's fatal shooting involving immigration agents in Houston. According to his son, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo had been in the United States for almost 35 years working construction. On Tuesday, ICE officers attempted to pull him over, but say he sped away, and they say he tried to run over an agent with his van.
Inside a Utah courtroom, suspected Charlie Kirk shooter Tyler Robinson faces some of the evidence, including surveillance video, that prosecutors plan to bring to his upcoming murder trial. They showed video of a figure on the roof they also say was Robinson in what they called a prone position. Moments later, the person is jumping down to the ground and running toward the woods. And police revealed 12 hours after the shooting, as they were hunting for Kirk's killer, an officer actually stopped Robinson's car near campus and was suspicious.
It is 6:40 and time to check traffic and weather. Roger Brand starts us off in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a couple of trouble spots out there right now, Debbie. The one we've been talking about on northbound 270 at Ladue, of course. This traffic reports a service of Ricken Financial. It's midway between Ladue and Olive where this crash occurred. The three right lanes blocked. The traffic is slow north of Manchester, and it jams at 64 up to that crash scene. So that's the one we know about. And the newest one is I can't see if it's in the work zone. I'm assuming it may be road work, but it may also be a stall in the construction zone. Of course, it's only two lanes and no shoulders. Westbound 70 at David Hokel Parkway. Traffic on westbound 70 is jammed at Wentzville Parkway right now, currently. Southbound 61 just a little slow midway down from Wentzville Parkway to 64. At that point, northbound 55, 141 up to the Merrimack River. That looks a little busy as well. Illinois side, seeing some slow traffic on westbound 5570, west of Route 40, headed to 159, and westbound 270, just a briefer delay west of 159. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Join Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost for Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on KMOX. And get more, including the Kickin' with the Rickens podcast, when you visit RickenFinancial.com.
Right now, we're kicking with Joe Lundberg, the AccuWeather meteorologist, and we have ourselves a hot, humid day.
We do. With temperatures are going to head up toward 90 degrees today, Tom, and with pretty high humidity, it'll feel like it's in the mid-90s, and that's enough that we could see another spotty thunderstorm in a couple of places during the afternoon or early evening hours. Then it clears out overnight. By morning, we're down to 74, and that's it. Hottest days probably tomorrow. We'll get into the low 90s with sun and some clouds, but late tomorrow night, a little bit more concerned about thunderstorm activity, and those could be a little more feisty. When I say that, I'm talking about damaging winds in the mix, hail, and flooding downpours. Friday, a lot more clouds and sun. That'll keep temperature down a little bit, but there's still going to be a couple of showers and maybe a heavier thunderstorm in the area, the high 87. Shower and thunderstorm likely on Saturday, the high about 85. Partly sunny, should be dry on Sunday, the high 87. I think the heat builds next week. 72 at St. Peter's, 76 in Florissant, 77 with sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:42. Thank you, Joe. A federal judge yesterday blocked a subpoena from the Department of Justice demanding the names and contact information of every election worker in Fulton County, Georgia, involved in the 2020 election.
Trump-appointed Judge William Ray described the subpoena as staggering, saying the request for information, including the names, residential addresses, telephone numbers, and other personal identifying information of all election workers involved in the 2020 election, was a, quote, arbitrary fishing expedition by the Trump administration. He noted that the statute of limitations for any crimes have already expired, and that the subpoena is likely to have a chilling effect on future poll workers. With Donald Trump continuing to cast doubt on the outcome of the 2020 election, the Department of Justice has spent the last year investigating Fulton County, including sending the subpoena in April and recently surging hundreds of FBI personnel to assist in the investigation. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
I know someone with Lyme disease, and it is a rough experience.
That's just one Midwest hunter who was recently asked about Lyme disease and a potential vaccine against it.
That's gunfire out at Bush Shooting Range in Defiance. Some of the people who are out in the woods and exposed to ticks the most are hunters. Pharmaceutical companies are working on vaccines to protect against the tick-borne Lyme disease. KFF Midwest correspondent Bram Sable-Smith talked to hunter after hunter about their experience with Lyme disease and whether they would take the vaccine.
Well, I had one person tell me that absolutely, no doubt, they would absolutely line up to get this vaccine because of their proclivity to being outside. This is a person who had described getting bit by hundreds of ticks at the same time. She thought she walked through a nest. But the other people, the thing I heard most often from people was, hey, I may not be into vaccines. I might be a little bit vaccine hesitant, but I've seen the way that Lyme has impacted people in my life. I've seen how difficult it can be. And I want to know more about this vaccine. We're talking about vaccines that have not been approved yet.
Only one hunter said a firm no.
Is that something that you would consider at all taking?
No.
Why is that?
No, I mean, I'm not, anti, but no. I kind of hand it off to God. In the body he gave me, I'm pretty durable.
Clinical vaccine trials show 75% effectiveness at reducing Lyme disease. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. Cardinals are not right now. They've lost 4 in a row, and they've only beaten the Brewers once this year in 8 tries. They fell 4-3 in the first game, even after Jordan Walker hit a home run off Jacob Mizrowski. Got them off to a great start, but they end up losing the game 4-3, a chance to win that one, and then they get blown out last night 10-2. The Cardinals have some pitching issues they're trying to sort through right now. They started Matt Swanson in game 1. He was the opener, and then they went with Bruce Zimmerman. If you don't know who he is, that's okay. He hasn't pitched for the Cardinals yet this year. He came up from AAA Memphis, does have some major league experience, and went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs. Swanson did not give up a run in his first inning. And the Cardinals followed in the second game with a reliever, Jared Schuster, who got knocked around pretty good. As a matter of fact, the Cardinals got hit so hard in that game and were out of pitchers, they turned to their infielder, a utility man, Brian Torres, for some help. He actually threw a scoreless frame at the end of that one. But the Cardinals got battered pretty hard in that game. Schuster gave up 7 runs in an inning and a third. Torres ended up going an extra inning after that. Scoreless. Cardinals lost the game 10-2. So what's going on here? Why are they throwing these pitchers and not the household names that you're used to? There are a lot of reasons for that. Ollie Marmol sorts it out. He says it actually goes back to the Cubs series.
As far as when you're in the last series in Chicago, you're managing for today. There's a lot of moving parts to where our pitching's at the moment, in giving Soriano and JoJo multiple days off prior to them throwing. How we're pushing McGreevy back and Palante and just allowing them an extra day of rest in order to kind of recover. A lot of this, the main filter is just keeping them healthy, right? It's part of the game within the game is health, and we can't afford to lose guys. So we got to be able to honor kind of how they're feeling, and that's a big part of this, man. Like that game today, yeah, you want to mix and match, and you had a 2-run homer and you're within 1. You can't. Like, you just got to ride it out. We didn't have a whole lot of guys left. So that's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of today. If we're going to stick to keeping these guys in a good spot. So it's not ideal, but it's what was needed today.
And what do you do next? I mean, you've gone through two lefties here with Schuster and Zimmerman earlier. What do the next few days look like? Do you feel stronger pitching wise because of what you did today?
I feel good about honoring and sticking to my word of not using guys when they say they need a day. I feel good about that and making sure that we're positioning ourselves for those guys in McGreevy and Palante to take their starts and feel good as far as when they're taking their start. We've mapped out what today was going to look like. That's why we had certain guys ready, and we have mapped out what tomorrow looks like as well. And it's to give us the best opportunity to compete, but also stay healthy until we get to this break. Yeah.
That's Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager. Derek Gould of the Post-Dispatch with the question there as the Cardinals go through a tough stretch here in pitching. Now they have McGreevy set to start tonight, 6:45 start against the Brewers as they try to get a couple back. This is a 5-game series, and they've already lost the first 3. Coming up at 7:15, we'll get into that Argentina incredible comeback win over Egypt, 3-2 to advance to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They'll play Switzerland, who won last night. St. Louis composting. You know, it's easy to do. Soil tests. Test your soil to make sure your soil has what it needs. Soil with 5% or more organic matter is the gold standard. You need some help with it? Just go to stlcompost.com. They'll take great care of you. You know, we all felt that brutal Missouri drought last summer, and I know we're getting some rain here and there, but we got a long way to go, folks, here in this summer, and top dressing makes your lawn significantly more drought resistant, meaning a healthier yard and a lower water bill this year, quite frankly. St. Louis Composting can help you with all of that. They'll help you with a game plan. They have 9 retail locations all over the area, all over the St. Louis area, or you can have soil, mulch, or compost delivered to your home by going to stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
I'm with Mark Cantor of Cantor Injury Law. And Mark, why is it so important for you to be a local law firm?
Well, being local means more than just advertising here, more than just a billboard on the highway. It means showing up here. It means supporting local events and local charities.
But why is local so important?
It's important because we know the law, we know the judges, we know the roads, and we understand the community.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
You can count on Cantor. Visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's a double trouble, double vision tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:51. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, some good news for 270 drivers, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. They cleared that crash. It looks like North 270 north of Ladue. Traffic is slow north of Manchester up through the work zone past 64, but then it sorts itself out. And South 270 is just a little slow south of Olive down into that Ladue area. So it's almost normally heavy traffic, really, for this time of day. We still have this jam, unfortunately, westbound 70 just west of Wentzville Parkway all the way out to David Hokel Parkway. Not sure if it's a stall or if it's actually road work going on there. I can't see what's blocking at this point in time. Southbound 61 still a little slow as you ramp onto eastbound 70. They had reported debris eastbound 70 at the Blanchette Bridge in the right lanes. I think they picked it up. I'm not seeing any delays there. On the Illinois side, we have a little jam up westbound 5570 past Route 40, then the slowdown at 159, and westbound 270, there's a jam from 159 about midway into 157 currently. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
For dependable, no-pressure home comfort solutions, turn to Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. Locally owned and family operated for over 40 years. Our team will work with you on a plan that fits your home's needs with financing available. And as always, your family's comfort is our family's business. Learn more at huffheating.com.
Hot and humid, thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, high 89, low 74 tonight. And then tomorrow, a high of 91 with a chance of a heavy thunderstorm in the late portion of the day. It's mostly sunny and 74 right now.
It is 6:53. A Hazelwood commercial bakery set to close, costing hundreds of jobs.
Nature's Bakery, which produces snacks for the Mars family of companies, will close in 2027, according to a layoff notice. 130 employees will be cut from their jobs on September 11th, with another round of 215 layoffs coming at the end of February. Employees have already been notified and will have the opportunity to seek other employment within the company. Nature's Bakery will move their manufacturing to other plants, according to the notice. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A newly signed Illinois law allows residents of long-term care facilities to install personal security cameras. Previously, only residents of nursing homes could install monitoring devices. The new law expands this right to residents of assisted living and shared housing communities. In a statement, State Senator Graciela Guzman says the ability to install a camera gives residents and their families a tool to protect themselves, document concerns, and help ensure these facilities are free from abuse and neglect. The cameras are for personal use and not intended to be used by facility staff.
A new bill makes it more affordable for Illinoisans to attend beauty school.
The bill signed into law by Governor Pritzker creates an apprentice program that gives businesses the option to hire and train students in the same curriculum required by the state for a wage. Noah Bezos, Illinois legislative strategist for the Institute for Justice Clinic on Entrepreneurship, says the average cost of cosmetology school is about $17,000, and many students struggle to complete the education and take on debt.
So about 75% of cosmetology students in Illinois will need to take out a federal student loan. And oftentimes, because of life circumstances or, affordability or what have you, only about 30 or so percent graduate exactly on time.
The bill offers barbers, cosmetologists, estheticians, braiders, and nail technicians a new path forward. Mallory Vorbroker, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Well, we just had an incredible music lineup under the arch over the July 4th weekend. You see all that? Zed and Ludacris and Kenny Loggins and Miranda Lambert, the Rebirth Brass Band. It was pretty good. Well, the Illinois State Fair says, here's our lineup for next month's Grandstand Concert Series. Matchbox 20 on August 16th. Grace Enger. Musical guests include Lainey Wilson, Wiz Khalifa, the Avett Brothers, and the Chicks. Illinois State Fair runs from August 13th to the 23rd at the fairgrounds in Springfield, and tickets are on sale now.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
What's it called? The 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah,
forget.
or maybe it's 6 degrees.
6 degrees.
But in St. Louis, it's 2 or 3.
Anyway, Kevin Bacon, the great actor, is 68 today. Happy birthday to him.
If you have a birthday or anniversary you would like announced during this segment, you can email it to totalam@kmox.com. totalam@kmox.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Joanne Hoffman of Belleville from the Polish American Ladies Society, Julie Weiss of O'Fallon, Illinois, and happy 11th to Addie O'Donnell from Poppy and Ham. The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back.
This is the best birthday ever.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing bone cancer. July is Bone Cancer Awareness Month, and visiting with us is Dr. Angela Herbie, medical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Herbie, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with a sarcoma. What is a sarcoma?
So sarcomas are cancers that start in either bone or the soft tissues that hold our bodies together, like cartilage, fat, muscles, nerves. First of all, I think people say sarcomas are bone cancers, but it's really a group of about 100 different types of rare cancers, and there's about 15,000 new cases per year. And sarcomas account for only about 1% of cancers in adults, but they make up about 20% of cancer diagnoses in children.
Dr. Angela Herbie with Siteman Cancer Center. I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we have that slow traffic. It's not bad, though. South 270 from Olive down through Ladue from the earlier crash. North 270 is just a little busy at the Clayton Road overpass right now. While westbound 270, you've got stop-and-go traffic approaching 159. It goes midway into 157, but 5570 running through Route 40. That's thinned out. Westbound 64 downtown, kind of slow at the Poplar Street Bridge. Northbound 270, like I said, around Clayton Road's busy, but coming up from 55 through 44, everything looks good. Whatever we had out there, maybe it was a stall westbound 70 at David Hochul Parkway. They cleared it, so westbound 70 traffic now looks good from Wentzville Parkway, headed out into that area. Don't forget tonight, overnight, 9 to 5 tonight's the first night of the closure eastbound 70 in Wentzville at Interstate 64. It'll be closed, so you can get off at the 64 exit to get around that. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. At a NATO summit in Turkey, President Trump saying he thinks the memorandum of understanding with Iran and the ceasefire are over after the latest back and forth attacks. With the head of NATO sitting right beside him, the president also criticized NATO allies.
I'm not happy with NATO because of the fact that they didn't want to help us with the number one state sponsor of terror. That's Iran. They were unwilling to help us.
The president taking particular aim at Spain, now saying he wants to cut off all trade with that country. The wobbly Manhattan high-rise that forced evacuations from nearby buildings when some columns began to buckle seems to have settled down.
Engineers and emergency crews are keeping a close eye on the 37-story high-rise building here on the east side that was in jeopardy of collapsing. Now, crews have been hard at work all night long. According to the Department of Buildings commissioner, he says that the property has been stabilized.
That's ABC's Phil Tate on the east side of New York. This is ABC News. Lawyers for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk, expected to keep questioning the reliability of DNA testing. Prosecutors say links Robinson to the suspected murder weapon. This is a preliminary hearing in Utah, but trial watchers say focusing on inconsistencies in the DNA testing is the kind of tactic likely to be used when Robinson does go on trial. Another stellar performance by Argentina and Lionel Messi.
Argentina taking the lead in the final minutes and beating Egypt 3-2, becoming the first team in World Cup history to overcome a 2-goal deficit with less than 15 minutes left in regulation. Messi in tears as he tried to take in the stunning comeback, his team tossing him in the air. The case for the 39-year-old being the greatest player of all time growing even stronger.
That's ABC's Sophie Flay. Argentina plays Switzerland next on Saturday. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 7:02, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we have sunshine and 74 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. St. Louis City is one step closer to regulating data centers.
An aldermanic committee approved a bill regulating the quickly emerging industry. Included in the requirements, clean energy mandates. Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer tells KMOX data centers will be required to utilize a certain percentage of clean energy to operate or fund clean energy projects through credits from day one.
25% of the energy used by the facility, they have to be able to prove that it can be from renewable energy.
The bill now heads to the full Board of Aldermen, where President Megan Green has already announced 2 special meetings to allow the bill to see a final vote before summer recess. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Police are looking for 3 suspects from yesterday's armed robbery that happened about 11:15 in the morning at the Dollar General in the 4000 block of North Grand. Police say 2 women loaded a large plastic container with stolen goods before a man pulled out a knife and threatened an employee. The 3 took off in a red vehicle. Also in the news, St. Louis County recording its first heat-related death of the season. Michael Calhoun has the details.
The medical examiner confirms a man in his 80s from West St. Louis County died on July 3rd. County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham says the loss is a heartbreaking reminder that extreme heat can be deadly and that every heat-related death is preventable. With more extreme heat expected throughout the summer, health officials are urging residents to stay hydrated, limit time in the sun, and check on elderly neighbors and relatives, especially those without air conditioning. If you need a cooling center, call 211.
Despite the edict a week ago from St. Louis County Executive Sam Page that his department heads are not to meet with members of the county council, meetings have taken place this week with representatives from public safety and elections, council members report. But one department is apparently still unwilling to meet. Council Budget Chair Shalonda Webb.
There has been a request for the Department of Public Health to have a CDL meeting on today. That meeting was declined, and I am still waiting from the Department of Public Health Director, Dr. Cunningham, to send us an alternative date.
Page's decision came after a dust-up between Webb and Dr. Kanika Cunningham. Neither Page nor Cunningham were at the meeting to respond.
The county executive is not in attendance this afternoon, so we will move to public forum.
Page and the council have been at odds over budget cuts. The health department in particular has come back multiple times to ask that cuts be restored.
Bill number 113, introduced by Councilmember Webb.
I move to hold Bill number 113.
Bill number 113 is held.
No vote on Metro Transit funding at the St. Louis County Council meeting. That move came after hearing from blind transit advocate Nicole Fitcham-Sheehan, who told council members she supports the funding, but also wants stronger oversight of Bi-State Development, the agency that runs Metro. She particularly pointed out the call-a-ride service.
The current vehicles are not exactly safe. As I said, I've been in this industry for 27 years, and the call-a-ride vehicles that are used currently, this is the first city that I have lived in or traveled that use these type of vehicles. And I pray to God that I am not in a mobility device, because I would be terrified.
She also says fixed route buses are being pulled from service due to driver shortages, leaving some disabled riders waiting up to 90 minutes for the next bus.
Policing alone won't stop gun violence, one St. Louis County advocate told council members last night. He was speaking in support of Bill 86, a $1.75 million violence prevention funding request. Tavon Brooks runs City Vision, a nonprofit that connects young people to job training, entrepreneurship programs, trade skills, and mentorship. He pointed to one moment, hosting an event expecting 50 young men, and some showed up armed.
By the end of the night, he says they were talking about starting businesses instead.
Relationships work. Consistency works. Opportunity works. You can't just interrupt violence. You have to replace it with something better.
Brooks says City Vision already partners with groups including the Urban League, Habitat for Humanity, and the Peacekeepers. County council members have held off for weeks on voting on Bill 86.
Well, it's never too early to start planning for Mardi Gras, at least not in Soulard. The neighborhood's Mardi Gras Foundation just announced next year's theme, which is Mardi Gras Around the World. Organizers want to draw on the rich diversity of carnival traditions across the globe with the theme, including Venetian masquerades and Rio de Janeiro sambas. The grand parade has been set for Saturday, February 6th.
It is 7:07. We've got sunshine in downtown St. Louis. We'll take a look at the forecast, and also the roadway. So stay with us. It's the voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bill, that's a big smile for an old politician.
I'm thinking about our plan. It's slick enough to make a lobbyist blush. First, we hoodwink voters with Amendment 5. Tell them it's a tax cut. Once they're hooked, we decide who pays the higher taxes.
So it's not a tax cut plan, and we don't get a say?
Right, just swaps who pays the tax, but it does remove 3 voter-passed taxpayer constitutional protections. That lets us levy new taxes on services, increase sales taxes, and even tax home sales. And voters will no longer get to vote on tax hikes.
Higher sales taxes on groceries, gas, service taxes on doctor visits, childcare, and even rent on apartments. Jeez. Taxes could exceed 20%.
Sure, they figure that up to 80% of taxpayers will pay more taxes. Many, hundreds more. Seniors, they'll get hit even harder, but our big donors will cut a fat hog.
The ones getting butchered by Amendment 5 are most taxpayers. I'm voting no on 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling on westbound 5570, westbound 270, coming through 159, we've got looks like a crash. It's a construction zone, but it looks like we've got a problem there. It's about midway between 159 and 157. So traffic on westbound 270 is jamming right as you approach 159. On the Missouri side, 270, well, there's a little slowdown right around the Sappington Road overpass. It's backed up from 44 most of the way up to Big Bend. South 270 slow, Olive down through Ladue. The northbound side through there gone, or the delays are gone from the earlier crash. Everything's thinned out nicely at that point. And we do have an injury crash reported, 141 at Gravois Bluffs, and they just dispatched emergency crews to that location. Other than that, the rest of these highways right now are looking to be in pretty decent shape. Next update at 7:20 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, sunshine mixed with clouds today, quite warm and humid with a stray afternoon thunderstorm, high 89. Tonight will turn out mainly clear, warm and sticky, though 74. Tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds, quite warm and humid, high 91. A couple of thunderstorms late tomorrow into tomorrow night can produce flooding downpours, hail, and damaging winds. For Friday, clouds, some sun, and quite humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's officially cloudy with some rain in the region, but in downtown St. Louis, we have sunshine and 74 degrees.
It's 7-Eleven. 2 Catholic churches in North St. Louis are permanently closing. It comes after St. Matthew the Apostle in the Ville and St. Augustine in Hamilton Heights were merged into St. Peter Parish in 2024. Parish officials say it's become hard to maintain multiple properties, according to Fox 2.
Cutting red tape for businesses and using Ram's settlement money to jumpstart development are both part of Mayor Kara Spencer's new strategic plan for the city. It appears also to mostly aggregate already announced initiatives into a single promotional campaign.
We're making it easier to do business in the city of St. Louis by simplifying our permitting processes and licensing, updating zoning policies, and deploying Ram settlement funds to make catalytic investments here in downtown and throughout our city.
She says zoning reform is also part of that effort aimed at making it easier to build more housing. Spencer's office says implementation is already being tracked weekly in cabinet meetings.
A commercial bakery in Hazelwood is preparing to permanently shut down.
A WARN notice is announcing Nature's Bakery in Hazelwood is closing permanently in the fall of 2027, with the initial round of layoffs to begin on September 11th. According to the WARN notice, the initial round of layoffs will be to 130 employees, with another 215 coming in February. The employees have been notified of their end dates according to the notice, and they can seek alternative employment with the company. Nature's Bakery, a subsidiary of the Mars family of companies, is moving manufacturing to their other facilities. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A nightclub in downtown St. Louis has lost its 3 a.m. liquor license. Europe Nightclub, located on North 15th Street, lost its license after downtown residents testified in April saying the club is a hotspot for criminal activity. According to the Business Journal, the club has until July 25th to appeal the decision.
Construction of 8 studio suites is underway at Enterprise Center. The semi-private suites are designed for spectators who don't need a full suite but still want access to all-inclusive amenities. The Business Journal reports the move will add 48 seats total. Each suite can fit 6 to 16 people.
Many soccer fans are saying the U.S. red card controversy involving President Trump killed U.S. World Cup dreams. KMOX's Megan Lynch asked St. Louis City SC broadcaster Jen Cease about the flap.
Does this now overshadow anything that the U.S. men's national team did during these games?
Yeah, I think in a way it does, unfortunately. When you look back, the USA men's team was finding what the women's team was able to find a little while ago, and that's just an identity. How do we want to play? We want to play different than just trying to survive a tournament. And they walked into this one with doing just that.
The U.S. men's national team knocked out by Belgium 4-1 Monday night. President Trump had asked FIFA to overturn a star player's red card so he could participate, and critics say that energized Belgium.
Well, somehow Lionel Messi always finds a way. This was an incredible match yesterday in Atlanta. Egypt is up 2-0 on Argentina, about ready to knock them out of the World Cup in the 79th minute until Messi came calling.
Dishing it off. Messi was in position. Oh, free header! And that is exactly what Argentina needed. Cristiano Romero hauls them back into it.
On the assist from Messi, and after Romero's goal, it's 2-1. And can they climb back? Can they find a way? The answer to that would be yes. You always have a chance when Messi is on your team. This one, a very close call.
Excitement until the end, guaranteed. Messi, good luck trying to stop him. That sort of position. Oh! Lautaro Martinez and others.
The ball goes flying out of bounds, and you can hear the crowd reaction. That was just 2 minutes later in the 81st minute. And then Argentina with some life. The call on Fox Sports.
And it's a great header, powerful header from him. Just steals a yard off Rabia. Shabir's had a game of his life, but just can't get enough of a hand onto it.
That was on the assist to Romero, and then Messi does it himself.
Lionel Messi, deflection there on the way through. And can they line something up here, Argentina? Oh, it's gone in. It's 2-2. And who else? Lionel Messi, the savior.
Unbelievable. He does it again, surrounded by his entire team in celebration. Lionel Messi's 8th goal of the tournament draws Argentina level. It's 2-2. The messages from around the world were just overwhelming from people watching this match. And then if they thought that was good, take a listen to this.
That didn't fool Julian Alvarez. Lautaro Martinez. Sending it over. Enzo Fernandez. Can you believe this?
That's 3 goals in 13 minutes. Incredible. Argentina takes the lead in stoppage time after being down 2-0. Enzo Fernandez scores right there to make it 3-2, and Argentina beats Egypt and advances to the quarterfinals. They'll play Switzerland next. As for the Cardinals, it was not a great day by any stretch. The Cardinals had pitching lined up to save the rest of their staff. Michael McGreevy is going to start today, and Andre Palante the following day, Matt Pauley.
Cardinals pitching is worn out in the final week before the All-Star break, and manager Oliver Marmol, along with the club's front office, is trying to find guys to cover innings. The club is swept in a doubleheader by the Brewers, and they bring up and then DFA Bruce Zimmerman, who covers 5 innings in Game 1. They then bring back Jared Schuster. He's likely to be removed from the roster soon. He pitches in Game 2, but only records 4 outs, allowing 7 runs. Manager Oliver Marmol explains the club making pitchers' health a priority.
I feel good about honoring and sticking to my word of not using guys when they say they need a day. I feel good about that and making sure that we're positioning ourselves for those guys in McGreevy and Palante to take their starts and feel good as far as when they're taking their start. We've mapped out what today was going to look like. That's why we had certain guys ready, and we have mapped out what tomorrow looks like as well. It's to give us the best opportunity to compete, but also stay healthy until we get to this break.
More roster moves involving pitching are expected before tonight's game. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Cut of the game sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Walker just gave the Cardinals the lead. Home run! Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws. He got
St. Louis, it's time to hit the ballpark. ATL meets STL when the Cardinals take on the Atlanta Braves at Busch Stadium, July 10th through the 12th. Plus, score great weekend giveaways, including a garage shirt and a kid's jersey. Don't miss 3 days of summer baseball, family fun, and Cardinals action. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Relive the magic of 2006 on Saturday, July 11th, when the Cards play the Braves at Busch Stadium. That night, fans will take home a David Eckstein bobblehead presented by Mid-America Transplant. This giveaway celebrates his unforgettable World Series MVP performance and scrappy plays that defined a championship run. Don't miss your chance to add this classic to your collection. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20, and in downtown St. Louis, the sun is shining. Perhaps it may be a little rainy where you are. We'll check the forecast in just a moment. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, traffic's getting a little busier out there if you're headed out the door right now. In fact, if you're going north on 270, we've got I can't tell if it's a stall or a crash, north 270, just north of 44. Traffic on north 270, though, slow north of 55 through to Sappington, both sides of Gravois. And then, like I said, it jams approaching 44 and eastbound 44. Those right lanes back up coming across the Merrimack River Bridge because of that north 270 backup that's building. South 270, that's just a slowdown from Olive down to 64. Out west, southbound 64, or southbound 61 rather, eastbound 64 and eastbound 70, they all look great. Eastbound 70 passing Hanley, headed down the hill into Cool Valley, looks a little slow. And on the Illinois side, we still have this incident. It was a construction zone, but there was also a report of an incident, a crash on westbound 5570, westbound 270 rather, about midway between 159 and 157. Traffic on westbound 270 currently jamming as you approach 159. That's the only Illinois interstate jam. There's just a little slowdown westbound 64 at 159. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Are moles tearing up your yard? Don't let these lawn invaders turn your beautiful property into a mess. Rottler Pest Solutions offers professional mole control services to protect your lawn from damage. Visit Rottler.com today to schedule your free inspection.
Sunshine and some clouds, very warm and humid today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, high of 89. Tonight, mainly clear, warm and sticky, low 74. Tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, warm and humid again, high 91, and a couple of thunderstorms around late tomorrow into tomorrow night. Currently, we have sun in downtown St. Louis, and it's 74 degrees.
It's 7:22, and a little later this morning, AARP, Metro Transit, UMSL, and Citizens for Modern Transit are having a ribbon cutting. As Kim Sella of Citizens for Modern Transit tells us, it's for the unveiling of a new bus bench at the Natural Bridge entrance to UMSL.
And this may not sound like a big deal, Debbie, but this is a really big deal. So this program is really aiming to gather and share narratives on the impacts of a bus bench at a bus stop. And what we hear from our members and riders all the time is that there are a lot of forgotten bus stops in St. Louis. So the goal of this program is to help build amenities for public transit riders and the surrounding communities by partnering with local organizations to install these Enjoy the Ride bus benches.
As you mentioned, it may not seem like a big deal until you've had a really long day and you've walked to your bus stop and you're waiting for your bus and you're tired and you'd rather not sit on the ground.
That's exactly right. And what's really unique about this bus bench placemaking program that CMT and AARP have initiated is the fact that each bench is tagged with our website and a QR code so that we can gather and share the narratives on how this bench is positively influencing not only riders, but the local communities around the benches. The other thing that we're seeing is the investment in these small scale infrastructure is sparking further investment in transit across the region. For example, we unveiled 2 of these benches last April in Swansea, and the Village of Swansea, in partnership with the St. Clair County Transit District, have now invested in shelters for those bus stops. And so we're continuing to see further investment around our small bench investment.
So this will be the 12th bench installed. Do you have a number for how many you would like to install, and how do you pick those sites?
We're actually overwhelmed by the number of municipalities, organizations that are interested in a bench for their stops. Our goal was 5 in the first year, like I said, and now by the end of this month, we'll be on bench 13 installed. And so our goal is to install probably an additional 20 benches by September of 2027 and see where we can go from there. And part of the critical component of this program is that we need on-the-ground partners. So we need partners who are willing to help us with the installation and then the maintenance of the bench going forward. And what we're seeing is communities see the impact of these benches in other areas, and they're saying, hey, I want one of those benches in my area. So we are looking at other communities are saying, I don't want one bench, Kim. We want 5 benches. We actually had one community who wanted 19 benches. So we had to scale them back just a little bit, Debbie, to make sure that we could share the wealth around the region. But there is definite interest for benches and the impacts that they're having on both riders and the communities. This program really underscores how this small, thoughtful piece of infrastructure can really yield profound impact, making the transit stop someplace that people are stopping, whether they're using transit or not, as a place of rest, connection, and community. And the stories that we're hearing are from all walks of life. You know, I stopped at this bench on my way home from the grocery store and it was great. Or this is a great location to have a bench as I wait for the bus after a long day of work. And so we're hearing the stories of the impacts as well. And that makes these really meaningful to the communities in which they sit.
It is 7:26. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Let's talk about the great communities around the area that McKelvey Homes has provided for us. McKelvey Homes. Missouri's oldest home builder is McKelvey Homes, and McKelvey Homes has done it again. And every time they sell a home in the St. Louis community, they give back $1,898. That's another great thing that they do. $1,898 the year they were founded. McKelvey Homes known for quality and for taking care of you every step of the way. You make the calls. They'll build a home that you'll love. Strawberry Farms open in O'Fallon, Missouri. That's east of Highway K on Mexico Road. Hey, how about a new fresh start at Strawberry Farms? Walking trails, a lake, wooded lots, a playground, display home now open. You can see it at McKelvey Homes. That's McKelveyHomes.com. They also have an area they're very proud of, which is Post Farms. That's also in O'Fallon. And the early bird gets the worm there at that community. They've thought of everything: pickleball courts, scenic lakes, open green space, a playground, Wentzville schools, quick access to highways, McKelveyHomes.com, and move up to McKelvey.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Don't let garage door problems bench your summer plans. From repairs, tune-ups, and replacements, Renner Garage Door hits a grand slam every time. Score a free repair or replacement quote today, plus $100 off a new garage door. Featuring trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, Renner delivers the quality, reliability, and performance your home can count on. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Get ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy.
I got my first real six
Brian Adams is bringing the Roll with a Punches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Brian Adams.
Say along to the classics as Brian Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Girardo. Brian Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
When Cardinals fans want to talk baseball, they turn to the Gas House Gang. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, Mike Claiborne, and Bernie Miklas bring insights, analysis, and opinions that fuel the conversation. And every Tuesday, Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol pulls back the curtain on his decisions and his team's performance. The Gas House Gang is the sports show sports fans can't miss. Hear it weekdays at noon on your home for the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:30. We have sunshine downtown. It's 74 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, some good news, folks, on North 270. It looks like they've cleared that stall over to the right side, North 270, north of 44, that was blocking the traffic lanes initially. North 270 slow as you ramp on from 55 up through Gravois. It's jammed north of Gravois up through that 44 area, but the front end of it is opening up. And eastbound 44, again, because it was in those right lanes, those are the 270 lanes coming in on eastbound 44, the ramp-on lanes. So eastbound 44 is slow between Bowles and Miraz up to the 270 interchange there. Southbound 270 from Olive down to 64, that's busy. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, it's a little slower at City. Eastbound 64 is a little slow at the Interbelt. 141 northbound at Gravois Bluffs, working an injury crash, trying to clear that. Just a little back up there, not much of a jam. Westbound 5570 seeing some delays approaching 111 and approaching 203. Westbound 64 3rd Street to the Poplar is busy, and they cleared that crash on westbound 270 west of 159. There's just a short jam at 159, and then it gets back on track. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be sun with some clouds today. It's going to be humid, high of 89, chance of a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. Pretty much the same for tomorrow with a high of 91, but we could see some heavy storms moving through late tomorrow into tomorrow night. Right now it's sunny and 74.
Work zones active again along Missouri's improved I-70 corridor. Transportation leaders are reminding motorists to stay alert behind the wheel. Project Director Eric Kopinski tells Missouri Net the advice for drivers traveling through construction areas remains unchanged.
There will be reduced speeds. There will be reduced lanes as we continue to make progress and get more of the features really across the state open. We think that everyday person is going to be really proud of, there were some work zone impacts, but this is a good investment that Missouri made because it made I-70 operate better for the next 7 years.
MoDOT says the next phase of the improved I-70 project could begin in spring 2027 if a contract for the Kingdom City to Warrenton segment is awarded this November. The $2.8 billion project will eventually add a third lane in each direction on nearly 200 miles of I-70 between Blue Springs and Wentzville.
So we keep hearing that the United States is on track to record its worst tick season in a decade.
A lot of people out in the woods exposed to ticks are hunters. Vaccines are currently being tested to protect against the tick-borne Lyme disease. Bram Sable-Smith, Midwest correspondent for KFF Health News, wanting to see if hunters would think about getting it.
How's it going? Hey, how are you? Hey, we're journalists doing a story about Lyme disease and hunters and outdoorsmen. Any chance I could trouble you for 5 minutes to chat?
He set up a folding table at a bench with a poster that had a big hand-drawn orange tick and the words, "Let's talk Lyme disease," at the Bush shooting range in Defiance.
But almost everybody knew somebody who had Lyme disease, a friend, a former roommate, a former student, someone like that. So there's a lot of familiarity with Lyme and everything that goes with it. This is a disease that can be difficult to treat. This is a disease that can be difficult to avoid. And it's something that can be pretty devastating on people's lives. And that personal experience with Lyme disease really informed the way that a lot of the hunters were thinking about a potential vaccine.
The 4-dose vaccine is developed by Pfizer and Valneva. The companies say it's about 75% effective in reducing cases, and they plan to submit it to regulators for approval. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
It is 7:35. We appreciate you being here with us on Total Information AM for this Wednesday, July 8th. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman. We'll check in about 5 minutes with Roger Brand and Joe Lundberg for traffic and weather. Let's get you updated right now on your money report, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Federal Reserve's proposed changes to anti-money laundering requirements for banks in an effort to focus more on what they see as core financial risks. The Fed Governor Michael Barr has already opposed the proposal, saying a new significant or systemic standard could have unknown effects. Microsoft's looking to reduce AI costs and has started to replace the AI products it uses from OpenAI and Anthropic with its own models in Excel and Outlook. They're used by millions every day. Amazon's also ramping up investment in AI infrastructure and looking to raise at least $25 billion from a U.S. bond sale. Investor demand could increase the offering. And arts and crafts retailer Michaels is undergoing an overhaul and making an unlikely comeback after capitalizing on two companies that have gone out of business: Balloons, which you may know from Party City, and fabrics retailer Joann. Michaels says it wants to expand its product lines and hold more crafting events in stores. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
It doesn't 4 kill majority rule?
Yep, creates minority rule, where just 5% of statewide voters in one district can block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass citizen-led ballot measures.
That's just dumb.
And when the politicians refuse to act, we've used citizen-led ballot measures to pass some big stuff, like lobbyist reforms, term limits for career politicians, and outlawing tax hikes without voter approval.
I'm not surrendering my power and rights to a bunch of politicians and lobbyists. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch, prepare governance.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Today,
the Cards, the Brewers.
Ackerman Total Access 550. First pitch 645.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 740. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got backed up traffic in pockets, Tom, on North 270. We had that stall earlier north of 44. They cleared it over to the shoulder, but traffic starts to bog down at 55. And like I said, it's bumper to bumper periodically all the way up through 44. That means eastbound 44 now from the Merritt's overpass, the pedestrian overpass, all the way to 270 is pretty slow at this point in time. If you're on southbound 61, the ramp on eastbound 70, a little backed up. 64 eastbound, you've got slow traffic. Clarkson to about Timberlake, 170 to about Big Bend, south 170 busy at the Parkway, south 270. Approaching Olive down to 64 is slow. Now, eastbound Highway 70, just a little busy. Earth City into 270. And then again, from 170 through Hanley into Florissant Roadway, an incident there. Stop-and-go pockets on westbound 270 in North County right now as you approach Lindbergh, around the Horn through McDonald. It opens up by the time you get to that Missouri bottom overpass. And on the Illinois side, there's a few slowdowns out there. Westbound 270 from 255 rather, over to 111. You've got some slow traffic there. And then, of course, on westbound 5570, approaching 111, midway into 203, there's slow traffic. And westbound 64 is busy from the 70 split all the way across the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Why pay full insurance when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
It is 7:41. Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Looks pretty nice right now out the windows of Studio B.
Good bit of the day, Debbie, with sunshine and some clouds. Yes, it's going to be quite warm and humid, but typical of the first couple of weeks of July, our high 89. There could be a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon, but like yesterday afternoon and evening, I think most of these will stay south and east of Metro St. Louis. For tonight, mainly clear, down to 74. Sun mixes with clouds, very warm and humid, 91. A couple of thunderstorms are more likely late tomorrow into these tomorrow night. They'll come from the north and west, and they may produce flooding downpours along with hail and damaging winds. We get to Friday, clouds and limited sun, quite humid, couple of showers and a heavier thunderstorm in the area, the high 87. Still a thunderstorm or two on Saturday, the high 85. Partly sunny Sunday, the high 87. Then after that, it looks like a budding heat wave is coming our way next week, and it could last for quite some time thereafter. Right now across the area, pretty humid, 74 at St. Peter's, 78 in Florissant, and 78 with sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. Sports coming up in just 2 minutes. We're coming up on 7:43 in the health world.
Legionnaire's disease. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 seconds to better health. A Legionella outbreak is making people sick in New York City.
A Legionnaire's disease cluster on the Upper East Side of New York City has sickened at least 23 people, forcing 17 of them to be hospitalized. So far, there have been no deaths, unlike previous outbreaks. The disease is a type of pneumonia caused by Legionella bacteria. They grow in warm water and can spread in building water systems and cooling towers. People can get it from breathing in tiny droplets of contaminated water, but not from each other. New York City Health Commissioner Dr. Alistair Martin says they're taking to the streets to inform the public.
Making sure that folks who live and work in this community know the signs and symptoms. So things like cough, shortness of breath, if people feel feverish inside, please tell them to call their doctors. We're working to identify the source. Typically, it's a cooling tower that is blowing water that has this bacteria.
Symptoms usually develop 2 days to 2 weeks after exposure.
With 60 seconds to better health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
Republican leaders say they have spoken with former Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has been hospitalized for more than 3 weeks. ABC News national correspondent Steve Portnoy tells KMOX not much is known about McConnell's actual condition.
As there are online rumors swirling that suggest that McConnell's been in grave condition. But to hear it from these top Republicans, he is up on the news, he's actively engaging and curious about what's going on, and talking with his colleagues about what's in the news.
There are key votes coming up in the Senate after the current recess. Find out more when Megan Lynch talks more with Portnoy at 8:24 this morning.
That building on Manhattan's east side that suddenly started to shift yesterday, sparking fears of a possible collapse, has now been stabilized in New York City. City officials say it has not shown signs of movement since yesterday. ABC's Phil Tate is on the scene.
Workers on the 21st floor had started to notice that those columns were starting to buckle and those steel beam boxes were beginning to bend. Crews have been shoring up the building, adding additional support to the columns. But yesterday morning, emergency crews, they rushed to the scene, trying to avoid a possible collapse as the building shifted.
Let's start things off with baseball. The Cardinals had to make some adjustments to their pitching yesterday. They made a flurry of moves, including adding Bruce Zimmerman for a game. He's been DFA'd after 5 innings yesterday, allowing 3 runs in relief of Matt Swanson, who opened the game. Told you the Cardinals are making some adjustments. They did all of this. Jared Schuster getting shelled last night in game 2 of their doubleheader, gave up 7 runs in an inning in the third, and that's because the Cardinals wanted to rest Michael McGreevy and Andre Palante for one more day. Not to mention, they wanted to rest their bullpen a little bit longer. The Cardinals pitchers And the team knew they had 5 games in a series with the Brewers this week, including the doubleheader yesterday. They lost the first game 4-3, the second game 10-2. So what is going on here? Let's listen at length to Ollie Marmol explaining it to Derek Gould of the Post-Dispatch.
As far as when you're in the last series in Chicago, you're managing for today. There's a lot of moving parts to where our pitching's at the moment, in giving Soriano and JoJo multiple days off prior to them throwing. How we're pushing McGreevy back and Palante and just allowing them an extra day of rest in order to kind of recover. A lot of this, the main filter is just keeping them healthy, right? It's part of the game within the game is health, and we can't afford to lose guys. So we got to be able to honor kind of how they're feeling, and that's a big part of this, man. Like that game today, yeah, you want to mix and match, and you had a 2-run homer and you're within 1. You can't. Like, you just got to ride it out. We didn't have a whole lot of guys left, so that's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of today. If we're going to stick to keeping these guys in a good spot, so it's not ideal, but it's what was needed today.
And what do you do next? I mean, you've gone through 2 lefties here with Schuster and Zimmerman earlier. What do the next few days look like? Do you feel stronger pitching wise because of what you did today?
I feel good about honoring and sticking to my word of not using guys when they say they need a day. I feel good about that, and making sure that we're positioning ourselves for those guys in McGreevy and Palante to take their starts and feel good as far as when they're taking their start. We've mapped out what today was going to look like. That's why we had certain guys ready, and we have mapped out what tomorrow looks like as well. And it's to give us the best opportunity to compete, but also stay healthy until we get to this break. Yeah.
McGreevy starting today, celebrating a birthday today also. Michael McGreevy and the Cardinals against the Brewers after losing 2 yesterday and the opener to this series, and they've now lost 4 in a row total, and they've fallen 2 back of the final wild card spot in the National League. Let's take a look at soccer now, and Dale Schilly, the Y98 Academy Director for City, but also the radio analyst of Y98, talking about the massive audience on Monday night. An average of 30 million people watched Fox, the most watched soccer broadcast in American history. And that number doesn't even include the Spanish language audience watching on Telemundo.
From a games perspective and developing the game in this country, we saw a mushroom effect after the 94 World Cup. And we'll see the same thing here, that just renewed enthusiasm, new fans for the sport. Just a new level of commitment and excitement about the game.
An incredible comeback yesterday for Argentina. They were down 2-0 with about 10 minutes to go, scored 3 goals and won it 3-2. Lionel Messi, just when you think he's given you everything, does something else you have never seen. Argentina will play Switzerland next. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend. It's always a great day at Innsbruck, a great day to fish, a great day to swim, to play golf, to get out on a kayak or a paddleboard. That is living, vacation living right on a lake at Innsbruck. How many lakes do they have there? Over 100 now. 7,500 acres. They continue to expand the property. It's incredible what they've done at Innsbruck Resort. Innsbruck-resort.com. They have an array of homes that you can rent or buy. And believe me, some people have been tempted enough to live out there permanently, and now they do. Innsbruck-resort.com. Where's Innsbruck? We actually talked about it earlier today. It's right off of the Wright City exit off I-70. Now for the parlay of the day, it is sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. I still feel strongly about Spain winning it all. And at last check, they were at plus 400 to win it all. Let's see if that is still the case. I first started talking about them, they were at plus 800. Now it's plus 375. See, I think Spain's in a good position here. Argentina is also plus 375. Norway could be a sneaky pick if you want to try to get some value out of it at plus 1,600. Norway looks really good. The parlay of the day is sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM, the news continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:52, here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's still busy on northbound 270, Debbie, north of 55 up through Gravois, stop-and-go pockets. So there's a little slowdown north of Gravois, and then it's off the pace from 44 all the way to Manchester. After that, not so bad. Southbound 270, well, westbound, I guess we'll say 270 from 170 around the horn through McDonald's, kind of busy because of an earlier incident. And then south of 364 down to 64, it's slow. Southbound 61 getting on to eastbound 70. That ramp's still a little busy. Eastbound 70 from the Blanchette Bridge, most of the way into 270s heavy, from 170 through Hanley into Florissant Road. We had a crash and debris between Hanley and Florissant Road. They've got it all picked up, but that's just leftover volume. Southbound 170 bogs down, basically from Olive all the way down to 64. Eastbound 64, Annie Guns up through Clarkson is backed up. McKnight into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley. You've got heavy traffic. 44 approaching Bowles through Miraz is busy downtown. Westbound 5570 west of 111 to 203 is heavy, and 64 from the 70 split to the Poplar is backed up. There's also a little slowdown westbound 5570 approaching 159. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, looking at a humid day today with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, high 89. Clear, warm, and sticky tonight, low 74. Heavier thunderstorm around late tomorrow into tomorrow night. Otherwise, sun mixes with clouds, warm and humid, a high tomorrow of 91 degrees. Right now, we have bright sun shining in downtown St. Louis. It's 76 at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:53. Missouri Governor Kehoe planning to sign 22 bills into law tomorrow. One of those bills would require pornography websites to verify users are adults before they're allowed access to sexual content. If passed, that bill would take effect in late August and could net up to a $250,000 fine for platforms that fail to comply.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is signing a new law allowing assisted living residents to install security cameras. The law allows the residents of long-term care facilities to install the cameras for their personal use, not the use of the facility, to help stay in touch with relatives or for protection against abuse. Illinois House Assistant Majority Leader Ann Williams says for families, a camera can provide a level of comfort and reassurance that their loved one is safe and well. Residents who have a camera installed must do so with the consent of any roommates and mark their door with signs notifying people of the camera.
2 Catholic churches in North St. Louis are permanently closing. This comes after St. Matthew the Apostle in the Ville and St. Augustine in Hamilton Heights were merged into St. Peter Claver Parish in 2024. Parish officials say it's become difficult to maintain the multiple properties.
The APA, the Animal Protective Association of Missouri, located in Brentwood, is waiving cat and kitten adoption fees today through Friday. Friday will be National Kitten Day. The APA has taken in nearly 700 cats since May 1st and currently has more than 80 cats and kittens available for adoption. Sarah Javier is president and CEO of the APA and says cat intake is up 15% since this time last year and shows no signs of slowing.
Some special events today for visitors at the Cahokia Courthouse Historic Site.
Local historians are holding a public reading of the Declaration of Independence at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the Cahokia Courthouse Historical Site in Cahokia Heights, one of the oldest public buildings in Illinois. Visitors will read portions of the document aloud while historians give insights on the document's origins, its meaning, and its influence on American history. The event is hosted by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources as a part of America's 250, which Illinois is celebrating through statewide educational programming. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
We'll tell you what Megan Lynch has coming up next at 7:56.
Is over. The new Omaha Steak Store is now open in Baldwin at 15305 Manchester Road in Central Plaza. Shop now for 50% off store-wide and enjoy delicious doorbuster deals starting at just $19.99. For more than 100 years, Omaha Steaks has delivered the world's best steak experience. From extra-aged USDA-certified tender steaks to pure ground burgers, air-chilled chicken, premium pork, and so much more. Every bite is handcrafted by master butchers and backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Stop by the new Omaha Steak Store in Baldwin today to discover the Omaha Steaks difference.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com. At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Fresh paint inside, fresh flowers outside. Summer at your house is looking good. During July 4th deals at Lowe's, buy one, get one free. Select interior paint via mail-in rebate. Plus, get two 1.5-gallon red, white, and blue annual hanging baskets for just $15. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See store at Lowe's.com for details and requirements. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still slow on North 270 approaching Tesson Ferry to Gravois, 44 all the way up to Manchester. After that, not as bad. South 270, Olive down to 64 is busy. South 170, pockets from Olive down to 64 where it's slow. Eastbound 64 backs up through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton out to Hanley's pretty busy. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's sunny and 76 downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman, and here's what Megan Lynch has coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Illinois health officials warn they're seeing a higher than normal number of cases involving explosive stomach problems. We'll get more on the outbreak after ABC and KMOX News.
Mystery still surrounding the condition of Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. Stephen Portnoy of ABC News talks about how that could impact key votes in the Senate.
A judge approves a big payout for victims of a genetic database breach. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young will tell us more.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine mixing with clouds, very warm and humid with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. Today's high 89.
I'll be back on the Gas House Gang with Chris Ranji at noon.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Trump blunt this morning when asked about the state of the Iran ceasefire and the deal he signed to put it in place.
To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them and with this scum.
This after Iran launched attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz And the U.S. military fired strikes at Iranian targets. More calls for Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner to drop out of the race after more accusations of sexual assault. ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Under Maine law, Plattner has just 5 days to drop out to be removed from the ballot. State Democrats would then have 2 weeks to select a new candidate, but there's no exact roadmap for how that process would go. Overnight, the executive director of the Democratic Party of Maine saying Plattner's team has reached out, accusing them of trying to dictate the next steps.
Search team still looking for a 737 cargo jet that dropped off radar over the Arabian Sea. 5 people were on board. This is ABC News. Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell was admitted to the hospital 3 weeks ago, and his aides still have not updated anyone on what his condition or his prognosis is. ABC's Allie Pecorin has more on the consequences of not doing that.
In the absence of a lot of clear information from McConnell's team about what is going on with the senator or what precisely his diagnosis or prognosis is, the internet has sort of taken it up upon itself to speculate about what might be going on with him. So the fact that these conversations are happening is noteworthy. But the question here now is it enough to sort of quell some of these concerns?
U.S. Airlines monthly fuel spending topping $6 billion in May, up 84% from a year ago, thanks to the war. The Kremlin hailing it as an important step, the International Olympic Committee removing many of its restrictions on Russia. That brings it a big step closer to being allowed to compete a full team in the Games in Los Angeles in 2028. This is ABC News.
At 8:02, we have sunny skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Wednesday, July 8th. I'm Megan Lynch. Regulations on data centers in St. Louis, one step closer to reality.
After weeks of public input, debate, and over a dozen amendments, the Aldermanic Zoning Committee approved the regulations, sending them to the full board. Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer says her bill requires data centers to meet certain clean energy milestones and bans them from being built too close to schools, parks, and residential areas. Facing some criticism from the public who say the regulations don't go far enough, Schweitzer agrees.
Really trying to find that pathway that is as strong as I can possibly make it while still getting 7 more votes in the Board of Aldermen and a signature by the mayor.
The Aldermen go on their summer recess Friday. However, President Megan Green has announced she will call 2 special meetings to allow the regulations to receive a final vote. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis Public Schools weighing options that would shrink the number of schools from 62 to somewhere between 40 and 47. That could mean new buildings, new bus routes, or different grade groupings for some kids. SLPS holding the first of 3 community meetings tonight at 5 at Vashon High School. No decisions will be made at the meetings. The district says they're an opportunity for community members to learn more about the plan and to provide feedback. In July, after a dangerously hot week, comes word of the first heat-related death.
A man in his 80s from West St. Louis County is the first heat-related death of the summer season in the county. The medical examiner confirmed the death, which happened July 3rd. The county health department warns extreme heat will return at times throughout the summer and is asking residents to know the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. If someone becomes dizzy, nauseous, or stops sweating in the heat, get them someplace cool immediately and call 911. Check on neighbors and family members who may be vulnerable or lack air conditioning. The high temperature in St. Louis on July 3rd was 93 degrees, but the heat indices were in the triple digits.
That's KMOX's Michael Calhoun. In St. Louis County, the health department asking for supplemental funding. County Council Budget Chair Shalonda Webb says the health director declined to take part in a scheduled meeting yesterday to explain that request.
I bring this forth because there have been talks of important legislation needing to move forward for the Department of Public Health, whether that be for additional employees or other needed items. I am asking that the Department of Public Health Director, Dr. Cunningham, please send forth alternative dates for her next CDL meeting.
County Executive Sam Page last week publicly announced that no department heads would meet with council members after he alleged Webb, under her breath, threatened Health Director Dr. Cunningham. But Webb and Rita Days report meetings since then with the Departments of Public Safety and Elections, respectively.
The county executive is not in attendance this afternoon, so we will move to public forum.
There was not a response at the meeting from Page or Cunningham. St. Louis County Council members held off on passing next year's Metro Transit budget bill at last night's meeting.
Bill number 113, introduced by Councilmember Webb.
I move to hold Bill number 113.
Bill number 113 is held.
Rider advocate Nicole Fitcham-Sheehan spoke during public comment, urging the council to keep funding bi-state development, but pressing for more oversight. She told council members the agency hasn't been transparent about service issues.
They're not being as forthcoming with the information and things that are going on behind the scenes as far as accommodations and complaints. In addition, with retention of caller ride drivers as well as fixed route drivers, there are fixed route buses that are being pulled because there are no drivers, and the next bus is not coming for an hour to an hour and a half.
A member of council staff approached her after her comment to hear more. The council's vote is simply to pass along the proceeds from tax levies intended to fund Metro. It's one of the only ways the county can perform oversight on the agency. A St. Louis County violence intervention worker says the county's running out of time. Council members are still considering Bill 86. That's a $1.75 million request from the county executive to fund street outreach and prevention programs.
The overspill of what used to be in St. Louis City, you are now seeing exactly what I told you in February.
That's Amir Brandy, an organizer with the Peacekeepers, a group of violence interrupters who work directly in neighborhoods to diffuse conflicts before they turn deadly. He's testified before the council multiple times, pushing for funding.
Every week that we take our time in addressing this issue, lives are being lost.
Page's request says the strategy of focused deterrence has shown results in cities like Baltimore, Chicago, and Oakland. The council continues to hold on the issue. A nightclub in downtown St. Louis has lost its 3 a.m. liquor license. Europe nightclub, located at 710 North 15th, lost its license after downtown residents testified in April saying the club is a hotspot for criminal activity. The Business Journal reports the club has until July 25th to appeal that decision. Coming up on Total Information AM, Illinois health officials say they are seeing a high rate of intestinal illness. Other states reporting the same. We will have an update coming up after traffic and weather. It's 8:07.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Still some slowdowns out there this morning. Let's get the latest on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's still slow on North 270, Megan, from north of Gravois pretty much all the way up through to about the Clayton Road overpass. Southbound 270 from Olive down to 64 is pretty busy. Eastbound 44 is better, just east of Mirage to the 270 ramps. It's a little off the pace running through there. If you're on eastbound 64, it backs up right at 170 to Big Bend. South 170 slow about Brentwood Boulevard. Westbound 64, that's still stop-and-go pockets from Hampton to Hanley. South 270 at the Rock Road, a little back up. Eastbound Highway 70 from 5th Street into 270 slow, but that run into Cool Valley from the Interbell is thinned out from the earlier incident. And on the Illinois side, we have that roadwork slowdown westbound 5570 approaching 111 about midway into 203, and westbound 64 backs up west of 3rd Street headed across Poplar. Do have an injured crash reported at Double P and 30 in High Ridge as well. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine and some clouds today, very warm but humid with a stray afternoon thunderstorm, high 89. It'll turn out mainly clear, warm and humid tonight, low 74. For tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds, quite warm and humid, the high 91. There'll be a couple of thunderstorms in the area late tomorrow and tomorrow night that could produce downpours, gusty winds, and hail. For Friday, clouds, some sun, and very humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And looking at the temperatures this morning, we do have sunny skies to start the day, 77 degrees in Florissant. We have 76 degrees reported and sunshine, 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Illinois health officials report higher than average cases of a parasite that causes explosive stomach problems. Federal officials are investigating hundreds of cases of cyclosporiasis in multiple states in Michigan, New York, and other states as well. With me on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line now is Bethany Halsketter, supervising clinician at Godfrey Pediatrics Primary Care and Prompt Care in the OSF Healthcare Medical Group. Good morning, Bethany.
Good morning.
So first off, what is cyclosporiasis? Is it sporiasis? That's a hard one.
Cyclosporiasis.
Okay, thank you very much. So what is it?
So it's actually a foodborne intestinal illness caused by a parasite. It's linked to contaminated food or water, especially fresh produce. And we generally see it this time of year in the spring and summer where fresh produce is more prevalent.
Why do you think we are seeing so many cases right now?
Well, I think why it's so prevalent right now is one, because of the time of year with the fresh produce. But right now it's brought to our attention more because we have not identified the specific food source. Last summer, when we saw a surge of it, it was relatively quickly linked to parsley. This summer, we have not been able to really identify the specific food source.
So what's happening in the production of especially this produce that people could come in contact with the cyclospora?
So it's not really human to human contact. It is from contaminated water because it's in the feces. So the food has come in contact with water or something that would then contaminate the food. And so unfortunately, since it's a parasite, you can't just really wash it off that easy. And, soap and water, like washing your hands really good, can kind of help it. But really the best way to kill the parasite is by cooking the food first.
So we'll talk about some of those prevention things. But first off, for people who may suspect they have this, what are the symptoms?
The first symptom is watery diarrhea. Very frequent and often, for lack of a better term, explosive. You get the cramping, bloating, gas, nausea, loss of appetite, weight loss, and then in return with the poor appetite, the horrible diarrhea, you get the fatigue. Sometimes patients will present with some vomiting, body aches, headaches, even maybe a low-grade fever, kind of that flu-like look, but really their body is getting dehydrated and is just needing some extra fluids.
Sounds like it could be dangerous.
Yeah, it can definitely be dangerous, especially in this heat. If you try to push through it too much and then you go out to the heat, your body can dehydrate so easily when it's so hot outside. And if you're already losing a lot of fluids in your stool, then you can definitely dehydrate easily.
Bethany, what are some of the best treatments for it?
So really staying hydrated. If you suspect that maybe you had some produce and 2 to 10 days later is when all of this started, I would definitely say you need to get to your doctor, tell them your symptoms, tell them maybe you had, fresh basil or an herby garden plant or raspberries. And then we have specific testing that we can test for it. And if it does come back positive, we do go ahead and treat with antibiotics.
Is this a reportable infection? I mean, would it be something that you would have to go to the doctor to report?
So yeah, if you believe you have it, you would need to go to the doctor to be tested. And if you do go get tested and it's positive, that positive result does go to the CDC, so they can help track it. So for us, I practice in Illinois. It would go to the Illinois Department of Public Health. So then you'll get a call from them, and they'll kind of go through everything you've eaten to see if we can figure out where did this come from.
So you mentioned, sometimes washing fruits and vegetables is not enough. How in the world do we avoid this?
Yes, that is a brutal thing about a parasite. Just washing the fruit or the herbs off is not going to really get rid of the parasite. The best way is by making sure it's cooked. And so I would really say, if you're unsure, we haven't linked this to anything, but at least in farmer markets, knowing where your produce comes from when it's locally sourced, you have a less chance of the contamination. To my knowledge, at this time, when I last looked at CDC, we don't have any local cases. They haven't really broke down county by county yet, but as far as I'm aware, we don't have any local cases. So you would be safe, really, if you wanted your fresh produce. And they're really looking at raspberries right now and basil. If you're really wanting something fresh, I would say go to the local farmers market, support the local farmers, and buy your fresh produce there.
What are your concerns when we have an outbreak like this, for the general public?
My major concern is really the dehydration that is associated with this, especially in our older population or even in our younger population. You get very concerned that whenever you have diarrhea, you lose electrolytes quickly. Your potassium, magnesium, all those can go really quick out of your body via your stool. And so if you're not staying hydrated and you're losing these electrolytes, that in turn can cause cardiac arrhythmias and things like that. But as long as you are staying hydrated and you notice, okay, I'm having horrible watery diarrhea, maybe you were at a party and someone else also started to develop it, get into the doctor. When you start feeling weak and fatigued, you feel like maybe you're lightheaded, it's okay to go to the doctor, get seen, get some lab work done, maybe test your stools to make sure you don't have this, and just really try to push the fluids, electrolyte drinks, and things like that.
Bethany, thank you so much for your advice this morning. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
That is Bethany Hulsketter. She's supervising clinician at Godfrey Pediatrics Primary Care and Prompt Care in the OSF Healthcare Medical Group. Still ahead on Total Information AM this hour, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the condition of Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. I'm going to be joined by ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy to talk about whether that could impact some key votes coming up in the Senate. Plus, a judge approves a big payout for victims of a genetic database breach. Remember that? 23andMe. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young is going to tell us more about that story. And you've probably heard about this building in New York. It's an office to residential conversion that is underway. It started to collapse yesterday. We're going to give you the latest on efforts to shore up that building. Plus, Trump accounts. Are they the best choice for securing your child's financial future? We'll have that just before 9 o'clock. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we have road work delays right now on eastbound Highway 70. This traffic reports a service of Ricken Financial. Eastbound 70 is backing up just east of Warrenton into the Wright City Rest area, bumper to bumper through there right now. Eastbound 70 still a little slow, Blanchette into 270 after that. South 270 approaching Olive down through Ladue to 64 still slow. North 270, Gravois, most of the way up through Manchester, still pretty busy. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, there's a little slowdown approaching 141. It backs up approaching McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Science Center out through to about Big Bend is bumper to bumper, and South 170 delays at the Parkway. On the Illinois side, the only real heavy traffic is westbound 64 from 3rd Street to the Poplar. Eastbound 64 getting on to 5570 a little slow because they have restrictions there
up to Exchange Avenue. Roadwork going on till 2 this afternoon. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it looks like we're going to have sunshine, a few clouds, warm and humid with a thunderstorm possible this afternoon, a high of 89. Right now, sunshine, 76 downtown at the Arch.
Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost cover the 3 key pillars of retirement planning: income, risk, and your tax strategy. Join us for Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement, every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on KMOX.
Folks, it's absolutely time to see the world-famous Budweiser Clydesdales. They are ready for you. There is nothing better, really, and it doesn't get any more iconic than the world-famous Budweiser Clydesdales. You've seen them in commercials. Of course, they're part of opening day in St. Louis. How special is it that you can see these gentle giants up close and in person at their home in Soulard? And, of course, I'm talking about the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. It's the home of Budweiser. It's the home of our favorite horses, the Clydesdales, and you can check them out with the Clydesdale VIP experience. Nothing quite like it, and there's nothing better than wrapping up your tour with an ice-cold Budweiser in the beer garden. Book your tickets today at BudweiserTours.com. That's BudweiserTours.com for the Clydesdale VIP experience. Your family and friends coming into town are going to love it. BudweiserTours.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi? For what?
Better not to know.
Get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in your price for 5 years and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're listening to Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Republican leaders say they have now spoken with former Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's been hospitalized for more than 3 weeks. Joining me on the Quiver River Electric guest line, Stephen Portnoy, ABC News national correspondent in Washington. Good morning, Stephen.
Hey, good morning to you.
What do we know about McConnell's condition right now?
Not much, frankly. We know that he's been hospitalized for the last 3 weeks or so, and his aides have not explained why, except to say that he's engaging with staff. And yesterday we heard from the man who succeeded McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who said the two had a lengthy and substantive conversation on Monday. Republican whip John Barrasso says he also had a call with McConnell, that it lasted roughly 20 minutes and that the 84-year-old was fully engaged and is eager to get back to the Senate. This is coming from these colleagues of McConnell as there are online rumors swirling that suggest that McConnell's been in grave condition. But to hear it from these top Republicans, he is up on the news, he's actively engaging and curious about what's going on, and talking with his colleagues about what's in the news.
Now, privacy is one thing, but is the amount of secrecy around this somewhat unusual?
It is, given McConnell's profile. I mean, we're talking about the longest serving Republican leader in Senate history, a man who is 84 years old, is retiring at the end of this year. He has obviously there's a great deal of curiosity. He's one of 53 Republican senators, and his absence makes it just a little bit harder for Republicans in tough votes if they have a couple of defections. There are going to be upcoming votes on key confirmations. For example, next week, the president's nominee to be Attorney General, Todd Blanche, has his confirmation hearing. And if there are a couple of Republicans who are a bit reticent to support Todd Blanche, well, McConnell's vote may be important. we don't know where McConnell stands on Blanche, but generally speaking, he has been, for the most part, while there have been exceptions, a dependable vote for the president's priorities and his nominees. So ultimately, there's a lot of curiosity around all this, a lot of online rumor making, but what we're hearing from his top Republican colleagues is he is engaging with them, which would be a statement that is meant to refute the idea that he's not able to do that.
No, you mentioned that he is retiring at the end of his term in January. Has there been any suggestion that he might decide or be asked to step aside early?
Well, no. I mean, there's been no outright suggestion. I mean, there's a lot of online speculation, but no, I have not heard fellow Republicans in the Senate say that ought to happen.
Is anybody talking about what happens if he is not ready to come back after recess for those important votes?
Well, ultimately, look, I mean, it wouldn't be out of the historical norm for senators to miss votes because of illness. I've seen in my time in Washington, about a quarter century, we've seen senators wheeled into the chamber after suffering strokes to cast votes. So, this sort of thing happens. And over the course of our nearly 200, well, the Senate's not quite 250 years old, but our country is, we could see examples of senators who have been incapacitated, who have missed lengthy periods of the Senate session. So obviously, yes, a great deal of curiosity. His office has not been forthcoming. And ABC News reported that when the ambulance was called, it was to take care of a man who was reportedly unconscious and in need of advanced life support. So there's clearly a mystery here, but that's all there is to it for the moment.
Stephen, thanks for the update.
You bet.
That is ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy joining us from Washington. Still ahead on Total Information AM, officials say a Manhattan building undergoing an office to residential conversion has been stabilized after it started to collapse Tuesday. We'll get the latest just ahead. It's now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tom Ackerman here. Here's the thing about estate planning, and I hear this a lot, is, I have an estate plan. I think I do. Or we did that years ago, but we've been meaning to look at it again. And honestly, that is the problem. Estate plans should not be one and done. Most plans don't fail because people don't care. They fail because life changes and the plan doesn't keep up. At Lederman Law Firm, it isn't just paperwork. It is an ongoing process. They build your estate plan to protect your family and your property, and then for a fixed annual fee, they actually help maintain it so it stays aligned with the changes in your life, your assets, and the law. That is a big reason why we have stayed with Lederman Law Firm all these years. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, including Illinois, and you want an estate plan that actually works, call the Lederman Law Firm at ledermanlaw.com or 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know, we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 also kill majority rule?
Yup. creates minority rule, or just 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one Missouri congressional district that block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass common-sense conservative citizen ballot measures.
That's crazy town stuff.
And we've needed our citizen ballot measure power to pass some big conservative stuff, like outlawing tax hikes without voter approval, lobbyist reforms, and term limits for career politicians.
No way I'm letting a tiny fraction of liberals derail our conservative power. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch per care governance.
Chris Ranchi and Amy Markscours connect you with the people, places, and conversations that bring our community together.
And now you get to hear about poo-poo in a box from a firefighter.
No, come on.
The hammerhead worm. And you get to hear about car fires.
And sinkholes.
And sinkholes. I love our newsroom. I think they're doing a great job.
From neighborhood happenings to local heroes, from everyday challenges to unforgettable stories. Chris and Amy, weekdays from 9 to noon on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Roger Brand watching your commute from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger, how's it look?
So I've got that backup out west on eastbound 70, Megan. It's bumper to bumper just east of 47 in Warrenton into the Wright City Rest area. After you get past that point, there's a little slowdown around Bryan Road, K to TR Hughes, and from the Blanchette Bridge into 270. If you're on eastbound 64, still a little busy between Clarkson and Timberlake. Midway in from Lindbergh through McKnight, it's slow backed up to about Big Bend. Westbound 64 jams west of the Science Center, headed out through Big Bend. South 170, a couple of spots south of Delmar down to 64 that's slow. South 270 approaching Olive down to 64 is busy. North 270 from 44 most of the way up through to the Clayton Road overpass is kind of off the pace. And on the Illinois side, 5570 eastbound, passing 111 a little slow, and eastbound 64 coming into Exchange on 5570 in that work zone is a little backed up as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, sunshine, some clouds today, warm and humid, though, with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, a high of 89. Clear tonight, warm and sticky with an overnight low of 74. And then a mix of sun and clouds again tomorrow, warm and humid, high of 91 with a couple of severe thunderstorms possible late. Right now we have sunshine, 77 in Florissant, 76 in St. Peters, and downtown at the Arch. That building on Manhattan's east side that suddenly started to shift yesterday, sparking fears of a possible collapse, has now been stabilized. City officials say it hasn't shown signs of movement since yesterday. ABC's Phil Tate is on the scene.
Workers on the 21st floor had started to notice that those columns were starting to buckle and those steel beam boxes were beginning to bend. Crews have been shoring up the building, adding additional support to the columns. But yesterday morning, emergency crews, they rushed to the scene, trying to avoid a possible collapse as the building shifted.
The building is a former Pfizer headquarters and is being converted to luxury apartments. At an evening on-site briefing, New York Deputy Mayor for Housing and Planning, Layla Bozorg, describes how a team moved through the building to assess that situation.
Sure. So they went into the building and they went up to the 17th floor. They were able to take the elevator to the 17th floor. And then they went floor by floor from 17 to 18, 19, 20. 21 was where the columns where photos were shared that were compromised. The building still was not moving, and then they went to the floors above them. So they're assessing floor by floor the situation so that they can finalize a plan for how they're going to reinforce the structure.
Nearby buildings, including a school, had been evacuated earlier Tuesday. Builders say the 37-story tower is part of the city's largest office-to-residential conversion project, with more than 1,600 planned units. It's 8:34. Your Money Report from Bloomberg is next.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Your Money Report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
The world is back on edge over Iran this morning, with President Trump saying the tentative ceasefire with Iran is over. New tensions in the Middle East raising concerns about another shock to the global energy markets. Yesterday, Wall Street was rattled by a sell-off in chipmakers. This year's best-performing corner of the stock market took a hit in the session. Investors wondering whether the artificial intelligence spending boom can keep on going. The S&P 500 fell 0.5%. Meantime, the Iran conflict giving a multi-billion-dollar boost to Exxon. The energy giant says higher oil prices boosted its recent quarterly earnings by $3.7 billion. Stronger refining and chemical margins added another $3.3 billion. This report is sponsored by Vanguard Investor Choice, a proxy voting program for eligible Vanguard index funds. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
If you're having a major project done at your house, it can be a long process. It can be kind of tedious or frustrating. And hopefully, though, when it's all done, you can stand back and look and think, oh my gosh, this is an incredible improvement. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, though, if you choose the wrong company. That's why I'm telling you that if you're thinking about a major project in your outdoor space, even a minor project, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. They only use the highest quality products. They have their own installation crews with years of experience. That is extremely important. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 58 years, a quality company, and they offer value. They're not going to be your cheapest bid, but they're going to be the best, and it's going to last for years to come. So you can stand back and think, money well spent. They'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey. Stop by and visit them or visit them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's a double vision tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two rock and roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Officials say a building undergoing an office to apartment conversion in New York that suddenly started to shift yesterday, sparking fears of a possible collapse, has now been stabilized. Iran has targeted American military sites in the Gulf after the U.S. launched strikes on several places in Iran and reinstated sanctions on oil sales. And government data released Tuesday shows that U.S. airlines spent more than $6.5 billion on jet fuel in May. It marks an 84% increase from the previous year. Let's check the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got a little trouble on North 55 now, Megan. We have a crash with EMS responding in the exit lanes, North 55 at the 270 exit. So the right lanes are jammed back through about Butler Hill right now on northbound 55. Northbound 270, north of 44 up to Manchester, slow. South 270, south of 364 down to 64 is heavy. Eastbound Highway 70, still this road work back up east of 47 in Warrenton to the Wright City Rest area. There's slow traffic from Bryan Road into TR Hughes, Earth City into 270. Eastbound 64 slow through the Chesterfield Parkways, then east of Lindbergh to Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at the Parkway. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley is heavy. And 5570, there's a little bit of a delay eastbound past 111 in the work zone. I'm Roger Brand at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Duke's Real Mayo.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about good mayo. Duke's Mayo. It'll make any dish sing. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
Should see a lot of sunshine today. We could see a few clouds too. Warm and humid. Thunderstorm possible this afternoon with a high of 89. Right now, sunshine 76 in downtown St. Louis. I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM on this Wednesday. That's the day we talk with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Young in Kaiser. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
We had a lot to talk about today. Let's start off with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. A judge here in St. Louis has approved nearly $47 million in a settlement for victims of the 23andMe data breach. Tell us a little bit about this case and this settlement.
Well, the breach reportedly exposed genetic and other personal information, Megan, affecting roughly 7 million people in the United States. And as you mentioned, the bankruptcy proceeding is occurring right here in St. Louis. Now, there's been a lot of lawsuits filed, and 23andMe went into Chapter 11 protection. But really, what the bigger issue, what the broader issue here is multifactorial here. Megan, because it deals with our genetic data. I mean, DNA is different than just a property right interest. So in that particular situation, the legal system has to decide whether you deal with this genetic data as just a property right interest or whether it carries more severity than that, simply because it reveals things about us like our genetic history, our DNA footprint, or fingerprint, and it ties everything to us, including like criminal cases we've seen in the media over the last few years about using genetic data to identify family members who may have committed crimes. So all of this is all wrapped up in this bankruptcy case, and it really portends to what additional legal measures need to be instituted over the next few years to protect this most sensitive of our data.
I think it's really interesting. I mean, obviously, 23andMe didn't cause the data breach, but apparently in the court's eyes, they didn't do enough to stop it.
That's right. And in fact, California has an ongoing lawsuit separate from this bankruptcy action, but they have an ongoing lawsuit alleging that 23andMe ignored known security risks, that they downplayed the breach after it happened, and that they failed to protect highly sensitive genetic data. And when you look at that lawsuit, Megan, that really, I think, is going to be the lawsuit that's going to help shape how we legally treat genetic data moving forward.
Well, and Brad, you mentioned, do we need more laws on this? But really, as far as, each individual person, obviously, we need to be more aware of what we're doing with highly personal information like our genetic code.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's fun to upload genetic data to these sites and figure out where your ancestry goes back to. It's fun. It's interesting. However, I don't think that the public realizes the gravity of the situation by giving over the information. Like, for example, when 23andMe said, we will protect your data and we won't sell it. But there was a clause in those terms of service that nobody ever reads. There was a clause that said, well, except if we go into bankruptcy, then we reserve the right to sell your genetic data. And that's exactly what happened with 23andMe. They went into bankruptcy and they sold the data to a third party. So right now, once it's sold to a third party, that third party has zero legal liability to protect your data because they didn't agree to that original agreement to begin with. So it's a difficult, confusing issue, but it's gravely important when it comes to our genetic data.
We have an important criminal case coming up in St. Louis area later this month. The man charged with severely injuring Ferguson officer TJ Brown during protests that marked the 10th anniversary of the killing of Michael Brown. That starts later this month. Elijah Gant facing 12 charges, including assault on that officer. Run down the facts of this case and what Gant is accused of.
Well, Gant has been indicted, Megan, on a dozen charges ranging from first-degree assault of a special victim, 6 counts of fourth-degree assault with what's called a special victims rider, resisting arrest, property damage, rioting, and other things. But here's really what it comes down to. The prosecutors have to prove in this case, if they want to get the largest charge, a conviction on the most serious charge, which could result in up to 30 years or even life imprisonment. In order to do that, the prosecution has to prove that Gant knowingly attempted to cause physical injury to Officer Brown. Not just that it was an accident, not that he was just fleeing the scene, didn't see Brown and knocked him down, but they being the prosecutors have to prove that Gant knowingly attempted to cause physical injury or harm. And that's a very high bar to meet. And that's really going to be the focus of the trial as to whether it was an accident or whether he knowingly tried to hurt Officer Brown.
Now, if people remember, Officer Brown is the one who has undergone a lot of rehabilitation because of the severe head trauma that he suffered in this. I think this is a hard one for people to understand because of the severity of those injuries.
Right. And actually, the severity of those injuries will play an enormous role in this trial because obviously prosecutors are going to want to show what was done to Officer Brown. He's in a motorized wheelchair. He cannot speak very well. He cannot walk. He's been undergoing daily treatment now for years. He's got enormous cognitive issues, and that will play into the prosecution's argument here that Gant did intend to do harm, and in fact did do harm to Officer Travis T.J. Brown. But it's that proof of that Gant knowingly attempted to cause that physical injury or harm or death. That's going to be the linchpin of this entire criminal action.
One last thing we need to mention before we let you go. Meta facing $1.4 trillion in penalties over accusations that its companies like Facebook and Instagram designed things to addict young users. 4 states have brought these claims. Meta says that the potential penalties are outlandish. Are they?
Well, that's one question for the court here, Megan. And if these states do get penalties of $1.4 trillion, that really raises a due process argument here on behalf of Meta. Is that cruel and unusual punishment, so to speak? So, but the threshold issue is whether the states can prove that Meta knowingly created algorithms to essentially addict children to watching Meta and Facebook and so forth. So that's going to be the threshold. If the states meet that, then they're allowed to assert these more than $1 trillion in penalties. And then the court has to wrestle with whether that is excessive or not.
All right, Brad, thank you so much. Always good to talk with you.
My pleasure, Megan.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He joins us every Wednesday morning here on KMOX. Coming up next, you've heard of Trump accounts. They give some newborns $1,000 seed money for a financial account. We're going to talk with Brian Page, founder of Modern Husbands, about whether that's the best choice for your kid.
Bill, that's a big smile for an old politician.
I'm thinking about our plan. It's slick enough to make a lobbyist blush. First, we hoodwink voters with Amendment 5. Tell them it's a tax cut. Once they're hooked, we decide who pays the higher taxes.
So it's not a tax cut plan, and we don't get a say?
Right, just swaps who pays the tax, but it does remove 3 voter-passed taxpayer constitutional protections. That lets us levy new taxes on services, increase sales taxes, and even tax home sales. And voters will no longer get to vote on tax hikes.
Higher sales taxes on groceries, gas, service taxes on doctor visits, childcare, and even rent on apartments. Geez. taxes could exceed 20%.
Sure, they figure that up to 80% of taxpayers will pay more taxes. Many, hundreds more. Seniors, they'll get hit even harder. But our big donors will cut a fat hog.
The ones getting butchered by Amendment 5 are most taxpayers. I'm voting no on 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Trump accounts are now live. The U.S. Treasury Department says more than 6 million children were signed up for those accounts heading into the launch. Are they a good choice for your family? Let's find out more. With me now is Brian Page, founder of Modern Husbands, a resource for couples to manage family and home as a team. Brian is a certified financial therapist and accredited financial counselor. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
First off, for people who don't know, how exactly do the Trump accounts work?
Any U.S. child under 18 with a social security number, an established parent guardian, for children born from 2025 to 2028, get a taxpayer-paid $1,000 government deposit. So it's important to highlight that it's for children born in those years. While other eligible children can have accounts, they miss those initial government seeded funds. So the accounts do grow tax deferred until the age of 18. And they operate in a similar way as like a traditional IRA.
So does that mean that there are any risks when you add your own money?
Well, anytime that you decide to invest in the stock market, there's always risk. And the longer that you're in the market, the less that risk that you will experience, right? So when you look at just the stock market in general, let's say we're talking about the index funds, when you look at how they perform over 10, 20, 30 years, they go up. But you're going to see short-term volatility because, when it goes up, it's not a clean, nice, comfortable path. It's more like a roller coaster. And so the risk could be people who don't understand what that roller coaster looks and feels like, and they begin trading based on fear and a failure of understanding how the market works.
How diverse would the investments be under a Trump account?
Well, they're more diverse than owning single stocks. It's going to be following American equities, but they're not as diverse as they could be if you had investments in, let's say, a kiddie IRA or a Roth IRA, where you can invest more freely. Particularly, you can invest in overseas index funds. And that's where I feel like that the Trump accounts fall, at least one of the areas where they fall a little short. Whereas if, let's say, you're not eligible for the government seeded deposit, maybe a kiddie IRA is more appropriate, because when you look at what Vanguard, as an example, is predicting over the next decade, they are predicting that emerging markets and international markets will outperform American markets. And by only isolating yourself to American markets, you're failing to diversify yourself from domestic risks.
What are some other things that families need to weigh in determining if this is the right thing for them and their child?
I think it's important to start out with, if somebody is eligible for $1,000 of taxpayer seeded money, take advantage of that. Clearly, you don't want to turn down free money. But let's look at investment options, above and beyond that. So again, this is just for educational purposes. But something that I would suggest people look into is a kiddie IRA. And essentially, a kiddie IRA functions like a Roth IRA. It's established by a guardian for minors, and the investments can be made domestically. They can be just like VT, as an example, the Vanguard Total Stock Market Fund. So you can be completely diverse. But what I love about a kiddie IRA, among many things, is that the investments that you make, your contributions, I should say, in most cases, a child with earned income, and a child with earned income could be a baby model, right? It could be somebody who mows lawns. It just has to be earned income. They rarely make more than the standard deduction, meaning that their income does not exceed that amount of money that is ultimately taxed. So their money is typically tax-free anyway. And then at 59 and a half, you can withdraw the money tax-free. So it's almost like triple tax savings.
That is Brian Page, founder of Modern Husbands, and you can find resources, including his podcast, at modernhusbands.com. Make sure you listen in tomorrow morning on Total Information AM. We're going to look at whether AI is distorting what cosmetic surgery patients expect out of their surgeons. Plus, we're going to look at the issue of poppy mills in the state of Missouri. So join us tomorrow, 8 a.m. here on Total Information AM. And if you miss us, you can take us with you on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Search for it in your app store. You can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us live, or you can scroll back over 24 hours and catch your favorite shows like Total Information AM that you have missed. Join us tomorrow. Chris and Amy are next.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends.